Hey everybody, and welcome to this episode of It's Your Birthday, the only podcast that gets you a gift every single week, and this week is no different, and that gift, as always, is video games. I'm your host, Kelly Workman. I'm joined by Christian Langton. Christian, how you doing this week, my boy?
You know, I'm doing good, man. I'm doing, it's a weird time, I think that we've said that at the beginning of every episode.
Yeah, it's crazy that you mentioned that, but the world's been pretty fricked for a few months now. It seems like it's going to stay fricked.
If you woke up like Encino Man in the middle of this, like what would you even do? Like how would you go about? Like I don't think you could get into all the hijinks that they got into in that movie if they were to wake up in this time.
Is Encino Man a good movie?
It's a movie with Brendan Fraser, and
so it is good. Okay.
It's pretty good. He's like a caveman, right? And they find him. Oh. I can't speak to that movie. I actually have never seen it.
I haven't either. I was about to say I only watch garbage films. I haven't seen good ones.
Let me just find the plot.
Don't you dare! Man. Okay, I was gonna say if you pull up this trailer, I'm gonna get copyright infringed already. They're watching the Discord. You know they are.
That's right. Okay, it's a caveman. Okay, so California teen Dave Morgan, Sean Astin, is digging a pit for a pool in his backyard when he happens across a caveman frozen in a block of ice. Aided by his goofy friend Stoney, that's a little on the nose, folks. It's just a little on the nose. Pauly Shore, Dave transports their discovery to his garage where the Neanderthal thaws and is revived. It's basically a coming-of-age story for a caveman.
Okay, so now don't you dare hit them trailers. Now, I've noticed that it has a 15% on Rotten Tomatoes. Why don't you go ahead and pull up Grown Ups 2 real quick, the movie I actually watched this week in addition to the first film, just to get a base point of reference.
Yeah, we'll just throw this here real quick. So yeah, that's the rating that we're seeing on the old IMDb and the Rotten Tomatoes there.
Yeah, and go ahead. Although this definitely looks like a movie that I will have to be purchasing here soon, because I only like garbage. And there it is. So that's swift 8%. Now the first movie, Grown Ups 1, had an 11%, which begs the question: why is there a sequel? And you'd be right in asking that, because who the fuck knows? Now I will say, this movie did cost $80 million to make, and it made $230 some million, so basically tripled its money, which is very cool. Which is very cool for a movie that's so good. Wow, it's really good, huh? It's just God, it was the best thing. The jokes never stop. The quips continue throughout. You get a lot of plots that never get sewn up. A lot of dead air there. I've noticed in these movies that the actors feel the need to laugh after jokes so that you know when you should laugh, because otherwise you might not have any idea when a joke just happened. I will tell you how this movie opens. First of all, this movie opens with Adam fucking dumbface Sandler in his bed, and a deer comes in and pisses on both of them. Stands up and pisses, runs through the house, finds their son in the shower, stands up and then pisses on him, and then his mom sees his son's dick, and they get uncomfortable for a second, and then the deer runs out, and then there's another 10 to 15 minute scene with a CG deer running through their home, and then a joke about the mom's or Selma Hayek's titties being really good in front of her kids. And
fantastic.
I'll say there is no CG in the first film. This is the second one. The first one, I already cannot remember what happened. Basically Adam Sandler is they call him Mr. Hollywood because he is so fucking cool. He's he's so cool that he made all this money, and now his kids are becoming assholes because they're too pampered. And he finds out after. Yeah.
So are the celebrities playing themselves? That's what this is, right?
So, no, but most of the celebrities in the movie go by their actual name. So, like, Rob Schneider's in there. His character's name is Rob. I believe David Spade's character is that. In the second movie, Nick Swartzen's in there, and his name is Nick. A lot of them, you'll notice, just go by their names. They didn't really bother. Okay, Marcus Higgins, I guess. I'm sorry, David Spade is not going by his name. The second one also features Kevin James's brother, who is somehow larger and less funny than the first James.
James the first.
Not to bring his weight into it, but they do every 8 seconds, so I figure I might as well mention it. Because his gags are primarily based on weight, and his desire for food at all times, and it is boy. I'll say my only shining light in the whole film was that Steve Buscemi was in there, and he is in a full body cast in the first film, to where his hands are above his head at all times, and he looks very hilarious. But that's it. So 140 some minutes for that one joke was what I got out of it.
How did Steve Buscemi and Adam Sandler become friends? I think I bet there's like a Variety article out there explaining how that happened, because
so on Worst Idea of All Time, they've mentioned that jokingly, of like Adam Sandler has to know Steve's darkest secret. Like, he has to know something about Steve Buscemi that no one else could ever know. To get him to agree to these things, because we've seen clearly that Steve Buscemi is a very good character actor, and the roles he was given early on were not to his behest. However, I think you have to acknowledge the way that Steve Buscemi looks, and that probably factoring into a lot of reasons why he didn't get roles that were great, just because he looks wild. Like,
so
I don't think there's any way around that, but
dude, I can't recall the last Adam Sandler movie that I sat through, but to my recollection, I think it was what was the fucking movie where him and Kevin James get gay married, and then they fool everybody into thinking they're actually gay,
right?
But they're not gay. And then they have the
I love you, I trust you, Chuck and Larry, or Chuck and Larry.
Chuck and Larry.
I pronounce you Chuck and Larry. Yeah, there you go.
So
that one ever get a sequel?
Well, I fucking hope not, because it was incredibly bad.
It was pretty bad. Yeah.
But 2007 is like high school, so like you're hanging out with friends, and then they're like, "Oh, we can get out of the house. It's a Friday. Let's convince our parents to give us money to go to the mall or some shit." And then you're there, and then they're like, "Oh, let's go see a movie," and then it's this movie, and then you're miserable the whole time.
Well, if they haven't changed their ways too much. There was a bit in Grown Ups 2 where a guy, he's a gay personal trainer, and at some point he goes to gay camp, and then everyone is so amazed that there is a gay camp, and then the gay man is like, "No, that was a joke, but I just know how to sew." And that was another hilarious knockout bit that people were, really looking over the fence for the ball, because it was so high up there, just hilarious. Your eyes were so filled with tears from just how much joy and laughter you're experiencing. You couldn't even really focus on the screen for a bit, which was good for them. I've seen some bad fucking movies, Christian, I'll tell you. I mean, I almost exclusively only watch them because they're my favorite type of movie. This is a whole new realm of bad. From what I understand, the Razzies, right? The award show for... So it was nominated for 8 Razzies and couldn't even win those. So it's like... I'm just saying, if there's a metric for hot fucking garbage, this is it.
Let's look at some Razzie recipients before we move into some news for why you came here, video games.
Well, Hilary Duff is the worst actress for this year. John Travolta got one. Ooh, couple from Cats, worst picture. That makes sense. That was fucking really bad.
I'm gonna pull up. Here we go. So this was the 40th. When was the? Oh, it was canceled. Well, no, let's look at last year. Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Or what was the year that? Let's just look at the year that Grown Ups 2 came out. Grown Ups.
Yeah,
2?
I would love to know what it lost to.
That's what I'm wondering. 2013. Yeah, we'd be going back a while. Let's see.
Not too long. There's a 30-second, I guess.
We're getting there. Okay, yeah. Here we are. So, according to this stuff
now,
here,
would it be? I guess it would be for the year it came out. Yeah.
Worst picture: Twilight, Breaking Dawn Part 2. That can't be worse than Grown Ups 2.
I can't imagine that it is. Yeah, I really can't imagine it. Well, there's his big dumb face.
Well, hold on. Would it be the 34th?
Yeah, here we go. Here's Grown Ups 2 right there. I was going to say, worst picture. Dude, movie 43, a way better movie than Grown Ups 2. Like, a way better movie. Conceptually, people didn't get that movie, but that movie, if you look at it as, like, there's a way to see that film as just, like, a parody of garbage movie plots throughout the years, and it's actually like pretty good. I actually really like that movie, to be honest with you. I could watch it again and maybe not say the same thing, but there's a few of the skits in that movie that are phenomenal. Grown Ups 2, on the other hand, pretty bad throughout.
Yes.
After Earth was another one. That was the one with Will Smith, I think, and his son. I've heard that was pretty bad.
No, I have never seen it, but I remember that when it came out, people said it was miserable.
Apparently, Jaden Smith, worst actor. Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I haven't seen that movie, so I can't tell you if it was worse. What? Okay, wait a minute. Tyler Perry won that?
Worst actress?
He won. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, hey.
That's pretty funny. That's pretty funny. Kind of sexist, but pretty funny. I guess it's not really necessarily an award you want anyway, so you might as well. Okay. Yeah. Lone Ranger, I heard, was pretty rough. I haven't seen it, but I heard it was pretty bad.
Yeah.
Really worst screenplay? I cannot believe this, because honestly, that movie, like even here, it got 3 more nominations in total than that movie. And it didn't win any of them? There's no fucking way.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
It's it doesn't make any goddamn sense. It just really doesn't. I can't even believe it.
I think the institution has been shattered of the Razzies. I can't believe what I'm hearing.
Yeah, I really can't. I mean, I believe that Lone Ranger's not great, but this is just crazy.
Well, video games.
Yeah.
Things have been happening.
Right. The things that we're here to talk about. Not this, because this is just upsetting.
Oh, yeah. When I saw this tweet, I was like, did they really have to go out there and say this? But then I guess we'll get into it real quick. But yeah, Microsoft.
I thought you were talking about why Robbie wasn't in Grown Ups 2, which is Rob Schneider's character. I thought that's the one you had your click on. I was like, geez, is it still going on? Are you still concerned about that? Jesus.
I don't know what's worse. The fact that he's not in Grown Ups 2, or Microsoft literally had to tell people to not vape into their Xboxes.
Well, let's be honest. It is an Xbox, so if somebody's going to vape in a console, it's going to be that one. I mean, it's right. It's color schemed exactly the same as a Monster Energy, and that I feel like is indicative of its player base. Nothing against you guys over there, but I just got to, I feel like it's got to be said. And I absolutely do love their tweet, though, because it is very much like, for real, you guys?
Yeah. Well, I guess so backing up a little bit, there were some fake videos out there of like smoke pouring out of the Xbox.
Yeah.
Smoke Xbox Series X.
It's just going to be a bunch of bongs. Be careful. Okay.
Yeah. So like, here's a video of like these videos that were going around. Oh my God, get off
websites, man. They're awesome. Don't you
So there were these videos out there.
Yeah, I haven't actually
seen. Is this the guy
seen...
who literally just blew vape into his Xbox? Oh no. Oh no, this is the root of it. We're getting to the actual root of everything here.
Well, Tom's guy looks like they did, but yeah, I get you. Yeah, he's blowing.
No.
Yeah, he's showing that there isn't intake and an exhaust on a console is what I'm seeing here. Pretty crazy shit, huh? Like
video via Xbox Studio. Oh, so some random Xbox like fan tweet. Like, oh, okay, this makes a lot more sense now.
Yeah. Clearly that's not. I mean, look at that Xbox logo. That's not theirs.
Yeah, that
looks a little off. Doesn't look exactly. It's a great value Xbox logo.
Yeah, like a bootleg, like like Walmart brand. Fucking okay.
Yeah, it's a seal of approval right there if I've ever seen one.
There were like aside from this, there were like fake videos out there of like people doing like smoke coming out of the top, like, oh, the Xbox is like hot or whatever. But then like those are coming out and people were like, oh, they're just fake videos. But I think this guy was just like, oh, I know how they made those videos. I'm just going to blow smoke into my fucking Xbox.
Sure.
Or vape.
Well, actually, you could probably, because I don't speak Spanish, but you could probably pull that into Google and see what that says real quick.
Well, something obviously about fake news, because so it's
that's that part's in English, so that helps.
Tired of the fake news. I leave you an MIO video explaining why the burned console is fake and how they achieved this effect with the console off.
Oh, sure. Okay. Well, that's good to know that it was recreatable, so that's helpful for people out there that, were worried that their Xbox may catch fire or that their parents might find out they're vaping.
But that tweet,
it's bad to be wrongly accused, I guess, in either part of that.
That they had to literally just tell you not to do that shit. For any non-vape related support questions, please check out the info here.
Hell yeah. At least they're being kind of dicks about it. I appreciate that. I'll take that from a company, because that's fucking stupid. It's that same thing of, well, it's not exactly the same, but there was somebody that had a bit about like them suing because they skied off of their roof, and they're like, well, the skis, they went too fast. And you're like, you skied off your roof, motherfucker. What are you talking about? It's not their fault you mishandled the thing, you dumbass.
Yeah.
So, well, that sucks going forward, because if there is a heat issue, now you got to go through a fucking another loophole just to make sure that actually happened and it wasn't some of this stupid crap. So that's fun.
Just don't do that. Just don't vape into your console. I bet it's safe to vape in the vicinity, but not blow it into it. There you go.
Well, I also love too that they're like, it's hot, and it's like, yeah, no shit, man. The whole top thing's a fucking gigantic fan. It's not like they don't do that without reason. Like, what do you mean? Of course it gets hot.
Yeah. There's been a lot of like conflicting reports about that on the Xbox of like its heat, and some people are like, it's like nothing. It's like every other console, just maybe a little more warm because of the way that it's cooled.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't seem like it has a great intake anywhere that I've seen, but I haven't really examined one. I think they got one in like the back, I think.
We saw it. He blew vape right through it, dude.
Well, yeah, but that whole bottom thing is just a rubber stand of some kind that's like attached to the thing. So I don't know I assume there's like holes in the bottom of that as well, but that's not like a great lift off for air intake, you know? Mm-hmm. But I haven't really looked super close at the actual design of them, because to me it's a box. But
well, I guess
speaking of things getting hot,
heat. Yeah. Good.
Damn it, this is the first transition we've ever had. This is the first segue that's actually made sense. Yeah. So performance on the Radeon cards looking real good. From what we've seen, they're saying that it overclocked and whatnot. It's the 30 or the 6. God, I hate names for this shit. The 6800 is on par with the 3090 in a lot of respects. That is overclocked though, as far as I understand. I will say that the maximum temp for the card is at 74 degrees, which I was seeing is actually pretty low. Like as far as like a maximum temperature, and they were saying that like basically the peak is going to be like 95% where it starts to shut down, which is kind of low because generally NVIDIA cards it'll run up to like, I don't know, I think like 80 or so before you really start to worry or need to worry. And then like I think mine's rated for like 110 is like the absolute maximum, but it generally only runs around 64, 65ish. So it seems like, and again, this is still technically not a temperature. Like they're still not really giving us the temperature, which is the thing I'm most concerned about because it's still not information we're being given. You know what I mean? Because showing us a maximum thing or the highest whatever is not like a indication of how hot it's going to run. I think it said also is a 300 watt draw for power, which is not bad really for what's there.
Yeah. Like I said before, I mean, my biggest hang up with them is just their software and drivers. And if they can figure that shit out, whatever. I typically, lately it feels like overclocking graphics cards is just a little moot, like at this point, in my opinion.
It's the same with CPUs too. Like the performance gains are so minimal for what's like actually happening.
Yeah. So, take this for what you will, I guess. But for enthusiasts, it's pretty cool, I guess, that you're able to do this. Not have to worry about much power draw and consumption. But hey, it's impressive that there's going to be competition again.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, it's still yet to be seen if supply, what that's going to look like, and bots and all that, and how that'll actually translate. I know one of my friends, I guess, got a 5950 chip. Pretty relatively. He said they were sold out in the 5 minutes that he was on the page, but he was able to get one. But it still hasn't shown up to him. So who knows about availability on these things? I know with the new consoles, they were all no surprise gone in the first few hours.
Yeah.
With which I guess I'll speak on that quickly because I brought it up there. But yeah, they're pretty insane. PS5 is taking the king on this one. Some of the aftermarket prices are closing in on the $2,000 mark, whereas the Series X I've seen the highest was around $800, which is not terrible, honestly, if you really need to have one right now, because it's still definitely over MSRP. But a convenience fee, I guess you could look at it on that end. That's really not that extreme, but yeah, that $1,700 for PlayStation 5 is pretty fucking insane. So
yeah. I guess let's look at that, because I actually haven't been paying much attention to the new console prices and stuff, because I know that PlayStation went out there and they were talking about, or Sony went out there and they were talking about, like, they're going to have supply chain issues. But I think Microsoft, one, I think they have, like, as a company, better supply chain resources, like, for their silicon and all that stuff. Like, and they've probably been manufacturing the Xbox for a while now. Like it almost feels like.
I think that's true too, because they've been sending. People have had them in hand for a while. Like I think Linus and then some other guy had them. Or Austin, whatever his tech channel. They've had them for a few months. I remember seeing them out there already. So I believe that's probably true. In addition to, though, it's like, the Xbox Series X is not really like, I feel like it doesn't feel mandatory as this does if you're comparing the two. Like, this is actually one having proper games that are coming out, whatever. The Series X, obviously the load times are great, but none of that stuff is like, they don't have a launch game that's like, hey, you have to play this right now. In addition to, like, Game Pass is already there and going to be there when you get it anyway. So whenever you get your hands on one, your library is going to be present anyway. So it's really not like, I haven't seen that push. And also, I think them having Demon's Souls on launch day is a pretty big one. Because that's like, at least that gives you something. And in addition to, Sony's install base is still just bigger worldwide than Microsoft. Though Microsoft was saying their worldwide this time was much better than it ever has been, which is good for them, and good for Game Pass, the true core of it.
Just goddamn, man, look at these people out there just raking it in, though. Like,
yeah, it's pretty insane. It's pretty insane. I mean, like, go down a bit because there was one I saw. What was that? Like 7 something, like 730 again. I'm not saying I agree with this, but that's, you know, 230 above MSRP. Oh, $207 shipping though. That's cool. So never mind. So basically $1,000. Very cool. Yeah, that's cool. That's a cool move by Daddy. Yeah. I love this too. Go down to the guy that has this thing that just says trusted seller. You're telling me that, you dumb son of a bitch. Like, I like, what do you? Okay,
I don't trust
anybody
any
can
of these
do that.
Crooks.
I don't trust you that you're selling a console for almost 3 times the MSRP. Go fuck yourself, dude. What do you mean trusted? You're already showing me that you're a piece of garbage. I love it. I absolutely love it. Yeah, these people are ridiculous. I mean, the index is the same thing because I was looking at those, and those are still like, it's pretty crazy. Like, if you look for those, the MSRP on that's pretty insane as well, or the actual resale. You probably have to type in Valve in there, I guess.
Yeah, I bet you do.
Yeah, 1,500
yeah.
In hand, free shipping. That's like the only one on there. Empty
box. Yeah,
for
that's
$40.
How they get you.
$40 plus $30 for shipping. So $62 for a box, an empty box.
Dude, fuck the Valve Index.
Yeah, here you go. Here you go. I want the super back game, the super brick game 99-1.
Yeah, that's what I want.
I do.
Yeah, fuck, dude.
Oh, that's the one that attaches to the back of the phone. Those aren't alright. Those are okay. Yeah, like scroll over a few images there.
Doesn't look like it.
Yeah, that's a phone case.
Okay.
If not, they make them that are phone cases that are the exact same thing. If that's not it, but they look identical to that.
You could just play games on your phone.
Yeah,
this is
way better. Better quality and fidelity for sure. Yeah, no, and these are again aftermarket games in general.
Jesus. That reminded me of those like Tiger fucking handhelds.
You look at it though, for $11, if it is a phone case, you're not really finding a phone case cheaper than that anyway. So it's like, you know, might as well do some kitschy weird shit if you're gonna do it.
Oh, dude! Speaking of tomorrow, I think I might hit up Walmart, but the Game & Watch Mario comes out tomorrow. Just a heads up, everybody out there. So that thing is super limited. Mario, right, Game & Watch Mario.
That's right, it does.
Yeah. Comes out on the 13th. This is the Best Buy page. You have not been able to pre-order these. They just have not let you do that. I
bet the one by my house will have these. I'll go look tomorrow. I'm curious.
If they do, let your boy know, because
I will. Yeah, I can grab one if they do.
I mean, even if it just sits on my desk and looks cool, whatever. Hey, that is what it is. But
I'll go look tomorrow morning, because why not? What else am I gonna be doing? Yeah. I forgot about that. That's a good thing to be reminded of.
Yeah, because that thing is, when it's gone, that thing's gone.
Yeah, I wonder. I mean, I was able to get Animal Crossing Switch there, so I imagine they should have some, I'd hope.
Well, fucking I guess if you want a free console, and
if you wanted a free console, because it's now limited to the UK only, so if you missed your shot of being if you're one of the 20 people that has YouTube Premium, you could have been one of the 6 to get Google Stadia.
I'm one of them. I'm one of them.
And this boy got one over here. I'm great. I really wish Amazon would hit me back. I would like to try their system for this.
Yeah. When I saw this, I was like, honestly, the Chromecast itself for free, okay. Like, I'll take that over the Stadia. But
I would like it for free just to have the controller. I just like controllers in general. I like having them out,
I just think it's cool to have the Ouya too. It's cool to get it shipped straight to me. It's going to be pretty cool.
That's what I'm saying.
It's going to be pretty cool.
Ouya 2.0. And,
yeah. I should probably throw the browser up on this so you can see what we're talking about. Yeah. If you were a YouTube Premium subscriber, you were able to redeem a free Stadia controller and Google Chromecast. So
I like that. You got to pull it up because people may have no idea what this looks like because it may have never been seen by human eyes. It's only there's only 5 of them out there already. So
yeah. But hey,
I like that. I love. This is what I love is that all other game companies are having insane issues with production and units and making their hardware, and then Stadia's like, we're just fucking handing it out, dog. We got piles of it. Just hey, take it, brother. we got them everywhere. Actually, to that end, now that we're speaking about UK and US with this stuff, so with the index specifically, right? Like the wait times for US have been 8 weeks, which mine was exactly 8 weeks to the day, exactly 8, and then it should be here if the shipping notification is right. It should be here Sunday, which is about a week out of the payment thing. I think I paid Monday, and then it was processing for like a day or two, and then whatever. But people in the UK have been saying that they're just like, oh, I ordered mine Thursday, it was here on Wednesday. Or like I ordered it Monday, it came Wednesday. So UK is like 2 to 3 days just to ship it out, and they could pay immediately. Where this one's like, wait 8 weeks, then pay, wait for like 2 or 3 days for it to process, then it ships. But they must have gotten a huge batch because I was on the Index Reddit, just kind of like just kind of getting prepared for or whatever, seeing if there's any like things to take note of or whatever. And most people were saying like a lot of people were like, I ordered pretty much anybody that ordered like, what is it, like end of October through like let's see, October, September, November. So like October, September, August area all came filled in this one. I think by virtue of one, the HP Reverb G2 coming out, and then the Oculus 2, I think probably knocked a lot of the orders out, which is good for us.
Shaking them loose a little bit from the fucking vine they're growing on.
Well, and I think it probably had to do with what affected their actual like besides COVID, but like getting parts for these things, because they make them all in house, but all the parts are Chinese. But that's I didn't even think about it, but lenses for 2 more headsets. One, Facebook making 2 million of the Quest 2s. That's a pretty big. Not that they're using the same lenses, but the technology stuff is there. So that was probably a big upset for actual getting production units and stuff out. But yeah, so hopefully Sunday I will be patiently waiting for the door because I don't want that package to sit outside even a little bit. It's too fucking expensive.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah, I'm excited to dip back into VR. I've taken a little time off of it because I've been doing nothing but playing Sea of Thieves, but we'll talk about that later.
Yeah. I'm excited to play Alex already. That's the other. I mean, I know why they do it this way, but yeah, as soon as you pay Half-Life Alex, they don't even give you a notification. It's just in your library already. And I was like, you sons of bitches! Like, don't put this in here that I can't touch it. Savages. But I'm excited to see, because then I'll know if VR is for me or not. Because if that one doesn't work out, I'm good on it.
We'll definitely hear more about that next week, I'm sure. But one
the only
thing
other
I did want to say about Stadia, just real quick.
Do you have to pay shipping?
No shipping. No shipping, nothing. I will
say
they
give you it. Hold on. It's free because what they do is they give you the CAD design so you can 3D print a Chrome and a controller yourself, and then go buy a Raspberry Pi and put it all together on your own accord. That's awesome. That's cool of them to do that.
We're canceling the service in 2 months, by the way. That's going to be the news. But
I would like to feel the controller. I am really curious because I've seen them and they look somewhat like comfortable. I'd like to actually just hold one, but
I know Stadia. I know Stadia is like easy to clown on. It's like the easiest thing this year to clown on.
I don't know why that was so funny to me.
Stadia.
I know Stadia is pretty cool, but
the old Googler Stadia. I think every time I've tried it, it's been like fairly impressive, and it's easy to clown on. I think where they fucked up is the whole model behind it. Like,
yeah, well, that's the thing is because you now have to buy a game, right, to even use this?
There are some... I mean, I could try Destiny 2 out on it if I wanted to. That's free to play. I mean, there is the Google Stadia Pro stuff where you do get, like, free games with that, but, like, I'm not about to pay for that. I did a trial of it for a month, and I was like, okay, everything that's on here I pretty much own already.
So do you already have a Stadia, or did you just try the thing?
Try the thing. So you can just open a browser, go to Stadia, plug in your Xbox controller to your PC, and play it. There's nothing
right. Yeah, I do. Yeah. I do have that. I don't know why. I've never tried that.
And that's...
I know why I've never tried that.
I did the, like, beta test where it was... they gave you Assassin's Creed Odyssey. What was cool, though, is that, like, after the test, they were like, hey, here's a copy of it for free on Uplay. You can just have this game now. It's like, okay, cool.
I tried to sign up for that. Because I just wanted the game. Because I was like, I just didn't want to pay for it.
I mean, the tech's impressive. I don't have the best internet in this apartment, so it's like, you know, mileage may vary. I did play the demo for Phoenix Rising, whatever. I forget the name of that goddamn game.
Phoenix so much Immortal Rising.
There you go. Yeah. How could I forget?
Yeah. Phoenix Immortal rises out of a Monster Energy can.com God of War, the Creed.
Yeah, the comedy spectacular. I loved
that. Was what I
game.
Just said. Yeah, I did a big comedy bit there that everybody loved a whole bunch. Everybody was really into it. You can leave that in the comments below. How everyone was so stoked about that.
Yeah, but dude, the Luna, like the idea of like doing channels and like having games just bundled with like a channel subscription. That's something that Stadia should have thought of. Like,
dude, it makes way more sense. Buy a controller and then give us like I mean, it's the same thing as Xbox, but you could argue even cheaper somewhat. You know what I mean? I guess it's not exactly the same, but like look, you play for a month very distinctly told me that I don't want to play the rest of Legions or Valhalla, and that was only $14. And that was a perfect purchase for me. That saved me $120. So if I got, I think these services have their purpose outside of playing the game, just demoing games or knowing what you... I pretty much do it as like Game Pass is sort of like a $10 a month unlimited demo reel. Mm-hmm. And then it's like, okay, well then I actually want this forever or whatever. But the proposition is, as we've said a million times, so good. And especially if you're going to have to stream the fucking thing. Like, don't make me buy a full copy of this. Like, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing? I have like, and again, you could argue like that Steam accounts are all tied to your account and that could go away at any time. Same with Epic Games, whatever. But just, I don't know, just the sheer fact that you have the data somewhere, like locally in some capacity, I mean, outside of performance issues and something else is like, I don't know, it just feels way more proper. It's the same issue I had with like Oculus's thing is like, even though it is still there, like their ability to just go, I don't like what you posted. You no longer have any of your other stuff. And I didn't even think about that before until recently. I was like talking to somebody on Reddit about it. The other thing is though, is like, if they lock your account onto your headset and all that, does that also, I guess it doesn't always mean that, but the potential of them locking out your Facebook account in general is there, which then also, if you use Facebook to log into anything else, would then also be taken. So It would be like, that's basically like a one-stop, hey, your identity is gone on all of these things, which is, again, a more extreme case as it sits currently, but the possibility of that is pretty frightening. Like, it just as a whole, not just for them specifically, but the idea of like, hey, I don't like the way that you posted that thing. Now you can't do anything. Now, it's a little weird.
Companies have always been very weird about like owning their properties. Like, you can thank Disney for that. Like, going back to like, do you ever like look into like why the Disney Vault exists? Like, did you ever
make money to be a bunch of cucks?
Essentially, because their model originally was like, we want people to see these theaters. We don't want them to own them at home because then they can just watch them forever and we don't get any recurring revenue. And then they were wait, let's release them once every 10 years and only for a week. And then they're gone forever.
Cool. Pretty cool. It's pretty cool. Yeah. And now they do this thing where it's like you can pay us monthly and also full price if you want to see something at home. They're really swinging for the fences when the pandemic hit. Very cool. And for a movie that I still haven't seen yet, but I eventually will have to purchase on DVD because as far as I understand, it's fucking bad. And I can't wait to see
it. The Mulan movie? The new Mulan? Yes. Yeah.
I've heard it is one of the worst movies out there. And I would really like to see that. I don't want to support Disney, but I think it's just a bummer because the original Mulan, or the animated Mulan, super good. Like, as far as Disney animated movies go, it's one of the better ones. And that's Google Stadia, everybody.
That's Google Stadia.
That's Google Stadia. But yeah, the other big thing I saw, it's not like huge, but some people's Cyberpunk pre-orders, more specifically to the ones that were the deluxe bundle thing, have been getting canceled. That's both good and bad. I mean, it's definitely super bad for the people that ordered the collector's editions of stuff. That's really bad because that super sucks. Because now they're going to, maybe have to scramble to find another physical copy of the game, which is a big bummer. And two, not getting their huge edition thing that they ordered, which is also a super bummer because... If anything already, because I've actually considered ordering a physical copy of this game, just because, you know what? I actually may do that because I have Amazon. That's a different thing, but there was some hiccup with my HTC Vive audio strap and some other thing I ordered for the Oculus on. This was really weird, but since it's not exactly the same, but. Like, Amazon decided, like, I returned both those items, and without having an option, they immediately returned it to a gift card that I don't have. Like, because I paid all of it with a debit card. Then it all just went to a gift card, which doesn't exist, which effectively meant it went into my Amazon account. But I was like, hey, what's up with this? And they were like, oh, you must have done something. I'm like, dog, I didn't do anything. I just returned both items as I have done every time. And somehow it went to an Amazon, my account, and they'll go, oh, well, we'll have it reverted. And I swear to God, that money was back in my actual bank account immediately. So it was this really weird thing of like, oh, shit, he caught us. Okay. And then turn it back on. It was like, because they were like, it'll take 5 to 7 days. And I swear to God, it was as soon as I was off the phone, it was in my bank account. I was like, that's really strange. And then,
yeah.
But because we watched Lake Placid, we ordered that on Amazon. So now I have like, I guess it took that out of one of the amounts of the like lower one. So I got like the 100 something back for the audio strap. So that was good. But the other 20 or whatever's in there. So maybe I'll do Cyberpunk off there because I have some Amazon credit now. And with even the base model physical copies of CD Projekt games are really nice. Like they always have a map and some like, this one actually has like a few things in it already too. So yeah, but yeah, that's a huge bummer. The positive side of that though, is I think that means more or less that they're checking inventories now and being like, hey, this is coming. We're getting this soon. Yeah. Like December 10th seems like the proper day that this is going to happen if they're going through all their inventory and being like, we don't have enough. That means they're getting ready to send them. So that's positive, I guess. If we're looking at it objectively, at least there's that for everyone who is getting digital or didn't do this.
Yeah. I mean, it's I think it's just going to be a pre-order digital for me. I do think some of the weird edition with the bike and all that looks kind of cool, but yeah, I don't know. I think I'll just wait for it to go to preload like a few days before and do that shit instead of like a nightmare scenario. My buddy pre-ordered Doom Eternal and like had the collector's edition with the Praetor helmet and everything, and like his shipment kept getting not only delayed, but like every time they would go to his apartment, like he was home during the pandemic, like he wasn't going anywhere.
Yeah.
But like it would be like, hey, we're showing up, like it's in transit, out for delivery today, and then he would get like a notification like undeliverable because like the recipient was not there or something, and he's like, dude, I've been home all fucking week. Like, what are they talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I try to avoid those physical scenarios these days because if I can go to, that's the advantage of like going to like a GameStop or like a Best Buy or something. Like
going to hell, you mean? Yeah.
Go into the hellscape that is retail in a pandemic. I at least know I can get it. Like
yeah,
more or less. Like I know I can go to the store and just get it without like any of that fucky shit happening in between it. You know,
for sure.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. With this one, I feel like if I'm just getting I can't imagine there's going to be a ton of people ordering the physical PC version of this game. So that's why I think might probably be all right.
Yeah.
But I haven't bought a physical PC game and probably, I think The Witcher 2 was the last one that I picked up because it had
point. Yeah.
Like think of the last outside of like Target's very tiny section and Walmart, like where do you see a physical PC game anymore?
I mean, that's it. Like GameStop, you can pre-order them, but they don't stock them, I don't think. Like,
yeah, no, they used to have a section that had like 4 World of Warcraft boxes at the bottom of a thing with like a mouse and like a headset next to it, and they're like, this is a PC section. You're like, cool, man, that's cool. I see you guys are. Well, then they're like, well, you guys buy fucking digital and you don't care about brick and mortar. I'm like, don't call yourself brick and mortar. Don't call yourself a family-run business, you garbage head.
Don't do that.
If I do a TikTok dance, will you add fucking more PC titles, physical copies? No, you won't. Go fuck yourself.
Dude.
If I do a TikTok challenge, will you guys hire me on the spot? Fuck you. Like, what's the deal?
I wonder how many legitimate submissions they got. I thought about that like yesterday. Like,
I mean, GameStop has a Reddit you can check. Sometimes it's pretty wild.
No.
It's like it's employee Reddit.
Oh,
so
no.
It's a lot of them, because a lot of time it's either they're in huge defense of GameStop, like that they do nothing wrong. Like a lot of them will be
no.
I love the company, I love all this, I just have blah 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 blah, and even the ones that are like, I just have this one issue, and then they'll get downvoted to hell, and it's like, it's really weird, but you should check it out sometime. It's pretty bananas over there. Actually, you know what? For the sake of fun, why don't you swing it up real quick? Just see what it looks like.
The GameStop subreddit? Oh,
yeah.
God. Here we go. Subreddit. Oh.
Maybe, no. Maybe employees of GameStop. I don't know if that's the one, because there was one right under it. Yeah, that one right there.
This one right here?
No, you had it on there. That second one right under GameStop Reddit.
Well, because this is GameStop employee. I think this is just a post within that other subreddit. Yeah, this is an Ask.
Oh, that's
Reddit.
Just Ask Reddit. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'll search for GameStop. I really want to see this.
I think it's that first one. Yeah, it must be that first one.
Because this has to be moderated
in a while, but. Yeah, because there's I missed it by a bit. There was also people that were getting fired because of their posts on this subreddit. Like, they would post a thing, and then because they were talking about the company at all, the company was just, like, looking to fire people for any reason when they were really trying to cut ties.
Oh, no.
Yeah. It's pretty sad over here, to be honest.
Just me? Seems like our store was not nearly as busy as Tuesday's launch.
Yeah.
Good luck today.
Good luck today, guys. What are we
cutting hours on a console launch week for? Surprise, surprise. Has to cut so many hours to the point where I pretty much can only have 2 people on for PS5 day. Like, why, GameStop? This isn't the freaking time. I have so much to do. Reset stuff. A console launch. Call of Duty comes out. This isn't the week to cut and save money. I'm just ridiculously stressed out because this morning was awful with the minimal coverage. I really hoped this would be a no-cut week, but color me surprised. I was big wrong. And even if I gain hours back for Saturday, it's already too late at this point. I don't need the extra hours for Saturday. Fuck,
yeah.
Man.
It's cool stuff. Like I said, last year's Black Friday fucked them around big time, too. It's like 2 people, 1 person on shift, whatever, for Saturdays and Fridays. It's just ridiculous.
I wonder what the top post in here is. Top post of all time.
Oh, that's curious.
Pulls GameStop's business license.
That was only 7 months ago.
Well, that was for the COVID stuff where they were trying to operate during shutdown.
You picked top of all time.
Then this couldn't have been around forever. That's weird.
No, yeah, it's pretty wild. Or they've scrubbed it. Like, that's another thing possible, too, is that they've just, like, deleted all the ones that are not great.
Oh, no. My district manager. This is about them being an essential retail company that has to remain open.
Yeah, that makes sense. Cool stuff over here, man. I'm telling you, it's pretty depressing, to be honest. Like, as someone outside looking in, it can be funny, but as someone involved, man, fucking that sucks. Like, this is just awful.
Wow, man. Yeah, this is like somebody emailing them to basically stick it up their ass.
Yeah.
This guy probably lost his job.
They all probably got fired. Like, that's the thing, is they were looking for, because they were already trying to thin out and they were closing a bunch of stores anyway. So if they see that, they're like, fuck it, go ahead and go. We'll get somebody else for cheap.
The year is 2026. Coronavirus wiped out most of the country. I haven't eaten in days. Finally, I see a small structure in the distance. I use what strength I have left to push open the door. I slowly approach the man behind the counter and purchase a copy of Madden 13 for 62 cents.
Exchange a copy.
Oh my God, what a joke, man. But the thing is, I like the experience of going to a store, is what I'm getting to.
I do too. I just don't like the experience of going to this store. Because I like to go into places and not have my phone, not have me question about my phone's cost and what I may be able to get out of it. I like to go into a store and them not automatically add, warranties that I didn't discuss. I also like going into a place and not ask if I'm going to pre-order every game that comes out on that system as soon as I just buy one game pre-owned. Like, I don't.
So
I just don't like the experience.
I don't know if it's the GameStops that I'm going to, or if it's the fact that, like, they're in this PR nightmare right now. But I'm curious if, like, because when I go to GameStop, maybe they'll ask, like, hey, are there any games you're interested in? Nah, I'm good. And then it's like, here's your total. Walk out. Bye. Have a good one. It was like, hey, look at this big list of games. You want any of those? Nah, I'm good, man. Hey, by the way, you're not a pro member. If we add you to the pro, you get this game in the front. Nah, I'm good, man. Hey, I'm solid. Oh, by the way, do you want the 8-year protection for this DS game you bought third party? Dude, I'm fine. Like, I don't think I need that.
It could be a number of things. I think one, they're probably fed up with the way that the company is trying to make them do stuff. Because the other thing is like, once they change the pro thing to not give you like a discount, it's worthless. Like, what is the point of the pro card? So what's the upsell pitch there of like, it's basically like, hey, you like GameStop, you want to give me a 20? And you're like, I don't really. Like, for what? And they're like, I don't know. We could use it. And you're like, no, I'm okay. It's just, or they're like, can you give me a 20? And you're like, I guess here's a 20. And he's like, all right, here's 2 back. And you're like, was that change? He was like, no, that was the trade-in value for your $20 bill is $2. And you're like, oh, cool. That's okay. Yeah. And they're like, you signed for it already. I'm like, I didn't, though. And they're like, you consented because you were here. And I was like, okay. And they're like, can I call your corporate office? And they're like, we'd love you to, but you already sold us your phone. By walking in here, you consented to trading in your phone. I'm like, what are you taught? What? And they're like, we can give you a warranty on that phone. I'm like, you want me to pay for a warranty on a phone you just stole from me? And they're like, yeah, well, to make sure the next owner is okay. And you're like, none of this money adds up.
Yeah, I don't know where any of this cash is coming from or going to, but I don't like.
Yeah, what is happening here?
Give me back my phone.
Can I have my phone back, please? And like, I mean, if you want to buy your phone, that's gonna be at least $250. I'm like, you didn't even give me any money for it. And they're like, I know, but that was the agreement we had. And I'm like, what are you talking about? It says right there above the hand sanitizer, if you use our hand sanitizer, we get your phone.
Oh God, yeah, that's GameStop, man. But
it's pretty ridiculous. It's pretty ridiculous.
I do feel for the people that have to endure it, though. Like,
oh, absolutely, yeah. I mean, like I've said before, especially the one down my street too. The people that work there, the 2 or 3 that I actually have talked to at length, one guy especially, super nice. Like super nice. Not necessarily this. It's when I get maybe the B team or whatever, or the ones that are not in the management position that are really just like trying to shove pro member cards in my asshole and then duct tape warranties to my chest and then pull a staple gun out and put used copies of fucking Madden 06 and staple them to my back. It's like whoever they are, and that sort of blindfold me for fun, and then I find out me and my partner both don't have cell phones anymore. Those guys can get fucked, but the rest of the staff, super nice. And again, I know it's definitely not their fault. Some people just like to do a good job, but the good job being requested is horrible customer experience is what they're asking you to do. So that's not, again, necessarily their fault. They just want to do what their employer wants, and their employer wants them to tell everyone that comes in there to get the fuck out.
Get the fuck out. Also, give me your phone. Cunts.
Hey, give me a phone before you go. Yeah, it's just fucking robbery is what it is. It's like GameStop's motto is like, how close can we get to a pawn shop where every employee still has their teeth? And they're like, oh shit, I don't know. And they've been trying, and they got really close, but I think they flew a little too close to the sun, and now they're in trouble.
Yeah. GameStop. What a unnecessary creature. Just at
this point, yeah, there's no use.
There's no use.
Just see, now there's where you need that Sonic sound clip. It's no use.
There's no
Shadow,
use.
Maybe.
Yeah. Well, real quick, I guess before we take a break, I did set up a stream deck. We have not implemented it to its fullest.
Yeah.
I am not gonna play any of these sounds I have on here right now just yet because it's all experimental. And I told Kelly I don't want to turn this into like a morning zoo, like fucking wacky radio DJ playing sound effects.
Thank you.
But
is it my request that we don't do that?
Yeah.
I know if you had your druthers, it would be all over the place.
Oh, balls of the wall. Balls of the wall. It'd be,
you wouldn't even actually speak. It would just be a soundboard.
It would be like slide whistles. It would be like wow, and then it would be like
a wooga, brother. I get it. Yeah.
Like I would have what's that putt like that fucking car that like makes all those weird poppy noises. I would have that in there.
You talking about Chitty Chitty Bang Bang?
That one. I would have the noise like old cartoons made when they were like running away, like that. I would have that on there.
Hello.
Yeah. In there. I'd have a little bit of that.
A little bit of that nonsense. I get it, dude. I totally understand. I get it, man.
So who knows?
Well,
maybe you'll sit out an episode and I'll have to do one by myself, and it'll just be 4 hours of me just punching fucking sound effects. How fucking
that's what
fun
the people
would that
have
be?
Requested. I mean, if that's what the audience is asking for, then we'll know, what direction to take the show. Obviously, that's a pretty good one. Because who doesn't love meme sounds for a couple hours at a time?
I mean, I'm just staring at these sounds, and there's so many I want to play right now. But
I'll give you one. Go ahead and play one. Give yourself one.
Give you one for my
Call
stream
for the
deck.
break. Yeah, give us a one for the break. One for the road.
One for the break. I did this one earlier, but
this is like taking candy from a baby, which is fine by me.
There we go.
There you go.
Thank
you. We'll be right back, guys. All right, everybody, welcome back. We're here again. We were gone for a second, but we're here now again.
We're back. Now you see us there. Now you see us again too.
That reminds me. Have you heard Dan Harmon's rant about "Now You See Me Too"?
I think I have. Yeah.
Oh my God, it's funny. It's really funny. Because that movie, Now You See Me, and then they made a sequel, Now You See Me 2. Not Now You... now you don't. Yeah, Now You Don't, or Now You See Me... Now You Don't See Me, or any other combination is still not as good as Now You Don't, especially for a magician movie. But Now You See Me 2 is one of the worst names for a movie I've ever heard. And... actually, that's another one I got to put on the list. I'm going to type that to myself right now so I don't forget to actually watch that, because that seems like it's pretty bad. Although, I don't know, 33 on Rotten Tomatoes, that's not, I mean, that's better than Grown Ups 1 and 2, so could be okay.
Hey, I mean, I don't think Woody Harrelson can carry a movie all by himself. He's in the sequel too, right? He was in the first one. The Jesse Eisenberg, right?
I'm sure he is. Yeah, Facebook's in it. Zac Efron's in it. Harry Potter's in it. Morgan Freeman's in it. Mark Ruffalo is hanging out there, I guess. Now You See Me Too. You haven't seen anything yet. Is the cover of that movie?
Oh no! I was about to say, if that was like the actual tagline of the movie, like that's what they put on the boxes. Oh god.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. Oh, at least on the Blu-ray edition, you have Now You See Me Too. You haven't seen anything yet.
I don't think I'm gonna see anything ever again.
Oh, I'm gonna have to see this. I wish it just said Now You See Me, psych. No, you don't. Now You See Me Too. Now psych out. You definitely don't, idiot. You don't see me, psych. You do.
You do. But I was
you do.
Here the whole
Actually,
time.
You do, because you're watching a movie and we've been recorded.
Yeah, humans can't be invisible. It's just impossible. The logic isn't.
I also saw somebody recently do a documentary on that guy, the bagel dude.
Oh, the bagel boss?
Pretty interesting. Yeah, they did a documentary on him because apparently his like stuff beforehand was a lot of trolling in public. So there's a question of if this is actual or if this is pure rage or not.
Yeah.
And then after the fact, he sort of get brought on talk shows and stuff, and they were trying to recreate his nonsense. I have a review of this one up actually, so you can pull that one up if you want.
Hell yeah. We're getting into games that we've played. Games that are in the computer, that are on consoles that you can play today.
Some of them are, yeah.
We have played some shit. So tell me, motherfucker, what have you played?
Yeah. I played Prodeus, Grounded,
Tell me what you fucking played.
Okay. Yeah, well, I played Prodeus, probably I wouldn't say the most this week, but I did play a good portion of Prodeus, or I guess to the early access complete portion of the campaign, which is about 20%. So making me think the whole campaign will probably be around 20-ish hours, maybe, all said and done. You can probably go through it a lot faster. The game is sort of set up as a speed running game.
Yeah.
It is. The way I've kind of pitched it is sort of like if Doom's art direction was intentional, but not by virtue of the fact of just requirements. You know what I mean? Like if original Doom. Oh, that's cool. I guess I left in a cool part of this. That's good to see.
I'll skip forward just a little bit.
That's good to see. I recorded 3 in the same day, and I thought I'd cut everything, but maybe not. Anywho, oh, you know what it was? It's because I did cut the video because I was having some like performance issues with the recording. It was doing some stuttering, but then I had fixed some stuff. Anyway, yeah. As far as actually playing the game, no performance issues whatsoever. It runs super, super well. It's probably, honestly, the most polished early access game I've ever played. Like, everything about it was very, like, it's just super snappy and super immediate. It is, yeah, it's basically like I said, if Doom's original art style was purely by design and not by a limitation of hardware, And they sort of escalated or expanded on that. I actually originally thought this was an Unreal game, but it's actually in Unity, which, because of its polish, I thought it was Unreal because it doesn't have any of that Unity jank that almost every Unity game has, regardless of how polished it is. It's not there. So yeah, it's super good. They also have all of the map tools and campaign tools and stuff in the game, so people have made their own levels and own campaign scenarios and stuff like that, so that further adds to the longevity as they continue to finish the campaign that's there. I would say the only real like downsides that I've had, and they're pretty minor, is like the impact of the weapons don't necessarily match the discharge of the weapon. Like if you're like everything you're shooting is basically exploding no matter what weapon you hit it with, and not all of them really feel that impact isn't really present on all the weapons, especially like the like shotgun and pistols and a few other ones like smaller stuff. And then I think my major gripe is that there's only 5 types of ammo, but there are slots for 20 weapons, and then there's I think 12 of them, or maybe a little less, are in the game currently. So you run into this weird thing of like, if you've ran out of, say like pistol ammo, all 3 weapons that use pistol ammo are now empty, so that becomes kind of cumbersome. And then same with like, there's 2 different shotguns, but if you run out with one shotgun, you've ran out with all the shotguns. Same deal there. Rocket launcher and grenade launcher use the same ammo, which is a little strange, but same thing there. If one runs out, the other does too. So that's like kind of frustrating, but that could easily be tweaked, so that's not a huge thing. And I will say, I think coming off of Doom Eternal, and this is not a fault of this game by any means, but I think coming off of Doom Eternal, it's a little weird that that you're not just picking shit up constantly. Like, and it again, it's by no fault of this game. Like, it's not the game's fault in any way. I think it's also just because I recently played through Doom. But it's like, yeah, it just feels like I should be grabbing more stuff or doing something else, and maybe like clamber up ledges would be helpful, because some of the jumping puzzles are like a little like too precise for how fast you're moving with some of the stuff. The game is set up to be a speedrun game, so maybe that's just an element of my play, not so much like, again, an issue of the game itself. But there's just like some little things that, having played that game recently, don't necessarily like kind of feel absent here. Also like some kind of, and again, it's weird because they're not really complaints, because the game is by design not that game. But it does feel like there's not like, I think actually Doom had too much of it, but there's like not like an upgrade or anything like that. Like, you're not increasing your health or ammo capacity or anything of that nature, which is pretty standard for games like this that it's trying to invoke. So again, not their fault really. Just it does feel a little weird by today's standards if you're trying to modernize that in some capacity.
Yeah, I think that like the newer Doom games have done like a very good job of mixing those old and new elements. Like especially the glory kill stuff, and like balancing like the resource management, like that adds a whole other like meta layer to the game. This looks like good fun, but yeah, it looks like a straight up like, you like those classic shooters? Here you fucking go. Here's one of them.
Yeah, and it's probably the best like classic shooter. Like,
did you play
or one trying to mimic it anyway?
Did you play Dusk by any chance? Because that's another pretty good one.
Like a little bit, but I've heard that one's solid. Not enough to have a real opinion on it, but from what I played, I remember it being pretty solid.
Because I will say this invokes that style better, I think. Like, Dusk is like very low poly models, probably a little more akin to like a Quake 1.
And this one definitely, like, even on the models like that are laying on the ground, when you move around them, their bodies do that like incremental rotate kind of thing that they would like in the classic kind of games and stuff like that. So it's like they've done, with a ton of care, tried to do that with like kind of every aspect of the game. And then there's obviously like secret rooms, monster closets, all that kind of stuff, key cards, that kind of deal. They also do a fun thing where there's like secondary levels that are like strictly timed runs, but they'll have like targets that are set up, and like by shooting the target, it'll move like platforms in front of you. So it's like this like real, I guess, jungle gym-esque kind of thing with like a shooting gallery as you're running through.
That gun looked.
Oh yeah, that rail gun.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good gun. I will say it's the only gun that has like any kind of like sight sniper capability, so you end up using that gun quite a bit. Yeah. But it's a good gun. I honestly ran through the game a lot with this chain gun because you really just feel like you're fucking mowing shit down. So yeah, it's really good. I think it's $24 in early access. Like I said, it's super polished already. And for a small team putting this together, yeah, I think it's got a pretty bright future, especially with people being able to just make games right out of the box, like full campaigns and shit. I think it has a lot of potential. So that's definitely a really good one.
Yeah, I'll check it out. I would recommend Dusk because that invokes that same kind of thing. It's got the secrets, and I assume this game does all that as well.
Yeah. Like I said, there's definitely secrets, and like it'll actually even tell you when you finish the level, like if you killed every monster, what percentage of monsters you killed, what percentage of secrets you found at your speed, and then the difficulty, and then there's a leaderboard that you can see for every. Overall leaderboard, and then per each difficulty there's a leaderboard also.
Do you know if like they've talked about doing any like multiplayer component, or if there's any like old school deathmatch or anything? Or
I haven't seen any mention of it. I would say if it takes off, they may be interested in doing something like that. But as far as I can tell, because you do log in to, or there is like some. You don't have like an account for it or anything, but there is like some kind of pseudo login thing to get into the player made maps and other stuff. Mm-hmm. I don't know if that's just like some in-game thing that's just filtering through the workshop or something like that. There may be some like layer there. Mm-hmm. But maybe like I said, I don't know if it takes off well, which I mean, it's been really positive. And I think it's published by Humble as well. So the chances are that it will take off relatively well, or they'll be able to do something with that in the future. But I don't have any specifics there.
Yeah.
But yeah, very
Seems
cool. The art style is super striking. Like I said, that's like probably the biggest draw is just because when I first saw it, I was like, oh, I want to play that just to see what they've got going on with that. And I think they do it like super justice. I would actually really love if they had like a codex that had character models, because I'd really like to see all these creatures like not trying to run around them or cover them in blood, just what they look like. Because some of the designs look really rad. And I just like to see them actually up close, which again, which you could actually maybe do in the editor. I don't know. I haven't actually ran through that too much, but yeah. And then I guess Ziggurat 2 I'll talk about because you're already here. Which is, did you ever play Immortal Redneck?
No, I have not.
Or City of Brass?
No. I've played neither.
So it is a... it is a roguelike in those veins. It feels a lot like Immortal Redneck, just if you swapped out guns for wizard shit instead. But it is another early access game. I had not really played the first one. I actually didn't even know that I owned it, but I went and played like a good hour or two of it just to kind of get a baseline. If the foundation of what was there would be fun enough to play a sequel or pick up a sequel or whatever. And yeah, it's like super good. The unlock system in this game is pretty interesting because it's like, you level up every run, sort of similar to like Children of Morta or something like that. There's always a stopping point, you know, like there's not like, it's not an endless run by any means. It's like, this one's broken up into quests that'll show you like difficulty, and then length as well. So it'll be, like X amount of, there's like an overall map. It's actually really done really similar to like Bullets Per Minute, where it's like, there's a map you uncover through chambers or like through each room that'll lock itself, and then you kill the enemies, go to the next one, whatever, and then there's a boss at the end, and then you go to the next floor. And I would say like that stuff's really good. The unlock system's tied to the quest, so it'll be like if you finish this quest, you get like 1 new wand, 2 new like relic types, and then like another perk kind of unlock option. So it's like they'll come up or whatever. In your runs proper, and it has a loadout system too. So the the overall progression is going to be tied to like just unlocking those weapons and then unlocking each of the weapons individually, or upgrading them individually. And you do that with like gold and whatever pickup stuff that you find through the way. I think it's all just gold. It's like done by that. And then each weapon has like a mastery system. So the more you use it, the more you get the option to level it up and then spend money on it. And they have like tiers to them. The thing with that is that you can't use every weapon for every quest. Like you have a loadout screen beforehand. So you'll pick like, you'll have the option to start with like, just a wand, and then that will increase like your overall gold intake for that run. It'll be like 120% or something like that. Then if you try to do like a wand and a staff, it'll take it down to like 100%. And then if you decided to bring in like a third or fourth weapon, it'll lower it further. You will find weapons you've already unlocked in chests in there too, so you're not like totally out. It's just like some part of the run will be harder until you find one, or you may not find one, but generally speaking, it'll hold out. And then all the mana types are tied to the like types of like spells, which is like the book, and then wand, and then staff, and then alchemy weapon is like guns or grenades or something like that.
Yeah. So are there like are there classes? Because I noticed like there's abilities on the bottom right.
Yeah. So there you have the E button is going to be a dodge, which every character has that one. The Q ability is your amulet, so you can filter in different ones of those, which there's I think like 15 or so of them. I know there's like 93 perks or something like that. There's like several different weapon types, and then all of them have tiers to them too. There's like quite a bit of stuff in there already for as far as like the variety of weapon stuff goes. But yeah, there's 5 characters so far. I've unlocked 4 of the 5. Their abilities are all just the one ability. His like pulls everything on the ground to you, so like all the pickups and stuff just come straight to you, which has been the one I've used the most because I can just go through the thing faster now that I've gotten like a handle on the game. One of them is she'll turn invisible and then do like a bonus damage when you come out of stealth. Another one does a pushback, and then the fourth one I found, I think he does increased damage with either alchemy or spellbook or something, but his overall mana is low or something like that. I know from what I was reading on the reviews and stuff from other people, the original ziggurat had like 15 classes, I think, or 15 characters or something like that. So chances are they'll probably filter that in. I mean, I think by virtue of each one of them only having one ability, they have like a pretty ease of doing that, you know, just like if they have an idea, they can go, oh, that's a full character there or whatever. So that or maybe they're not going to. I don't know. It seems like they probably will because it's been in early access only a few weeks or so it's still pretty early. I would say the biggest downside is just like the enemy design is like a little weak because it's all, I think there's like maybe like 15-ish enemies in total, and then they vary like these carrots explode, these carrots do poison, and then it's a lot of like this is a fire ball creature, this is a rock ball creature, this one's ice, whatever. It's that kind of thing. And the thing that I think is weird, and I it's a game where I wish they had like damage numbers on the creatures so I could tell for sure, but it doesn't seem like elemental damage affects any of them. Like it doesn't seem like if you're fighting a fire thing with like ice, it does any more damage, or if you're even fighting fire with fire, it doesn't seem like it's doing less damage. And in some cases, it even feels like you're doing more by using the same exact type of damage that the creature is.
Is that an option for that, or is that just not in the game at all?
As far as I can tell, it doesn't seem like it's in there. I may just be missing it, but I don't know. Like as far as like damage numbers, it's not in there. I looked for that, but yeah, the elemental thing, I don't know. It feels like an oversight.
Yeah, that's what I meant is like the damage numbers. But yeah, you're right. That does seem really weird.
Yeah, and again, I could be wrong, but it could be like maybe when I've been paying most attention to that, like the enemies were stronger in that room or something, so it just mitigated it in some way. But that's why, again, I think damage numbers really help to be like, yeah, this is definitely doing more or definitely less to these types or whatever. If the elemental thing is omitted, though, that it seems really strange because I feel like that would add another layer to the combat because it's not like super complex overall. It's just really fast, so it's not like they couldn't do with some of that. And then the weakest is the bosses, because there's 3 bosses in the game, but they're all identical models. They all act identically. They just, again, have a different elemental type, but again, it doesn't seem like that makes a difference. So it's like an ogre that does like a ground pound and then throws something and does some other, like 2 other moves maybe. You get him to halfway, then those like ball flying creatures come out and they're like tethered to him. You kill all of those, the shield goes down, and then you just finish him off. And all even the tutorial boss, which is like a goblin that never shows up again as an actual boss, is killed the same way. So like even the tutorial boss is like, hey, get him to half. These things come out, kill those, whatever. So that's easily the weakest part, is just that the bosses are just like very exactly the same.
Yeah.
So it could do with some more of that. But there is some good variation in like room types. It'll be like these ones have elites. This one's like enemies are weaker, but every one of them that spawns 2 instead. Or you have to get all these shards, or you have to do like get the right pattern of stones or something like that. So there's like a decent variety in like the kind of things there, and they can obviously add plenty more to the actual like room dynamics. But again, super polished, haven't had any performance issues, any major thing, no crashes, anything like that. So it's like foundation wise, really good. And yeah, it like to me, it feels a lot like that Immortal Redneck game. Like it really invokes that game, and a little bit of City of Brass, to a lesser extent, but yeah, I think it's good. I think it's another like $20, or I think it may be 17 or something for like the launch week or something like that. Nice. But another one worth checking out if you're into first-person roguelikes.
Yeah, it seems really fast. That's one thing I noticed like right off the bat, and a lot like
it's
like Prodeus. Like I think that's like a good harken back, because like shooters, like I find fun in the fast-paced shooters. Like I love my slow Halos, and I love my the slow campaign shooters. But yeah, something like that seems like right up my alley.
Well, that's why I say I think RoboQuest is still the best in class for that. Like as far as like gun feel, speed, and like variety and stuff, like that game is like super solid for early access, and I'm excited to see more of that. That game specifically, because it's super fun to play. Yeah. Grounded finally had their big pond update that happened, I guess 2 days ago now, I want to say. Maybe Monday night. Or I think it was Sunday night at about 5 a.m. because I was still up and saw it ding. I played through the content available there. It adds more to the world than it does to the questing stuff. I think from what they said, they're working on fleshing out 2 more areas completely, and then working on an overall pass while doing the story stuff, because the story is still not really in there by any stretch. Like it's still just a lot of exploration and stuff like that. But they added, I think it's 5 new creatures. It was the boatman fish, which you use to make like flippers. They added underwater spiders, which are a real pain in the ass because there's a ton of them. And they poison you for some fucking reason. And then they have tadpoles, which are non-aggressive. Those blot... I can't think of what they're called. It's like some kind of like... Shit, I can't remember. But and then the biggest thing is this koi fish. And he's a fuckhead. This guy is like... He's obvious. I think they should have just called it like the koi update and not like the koi pond, because it's like, or the pond update or whatever. Like it really much feels like this is this dude's fucking territory. Because like I've been killed by this thing so many times and not even really noticed that it happened. Like it was just like because there's not like an animation for him like swallowing you or doing anything. You just straight up die. So he like comes within a certain feet of you. You hear him. And then you're out, which is not ideal. Like they've changed a lot of animations for stuff throughout the updating process, so I'm sure it'll eventually become more fleshed out. But yeah, he's a fuckhead, and you can't kill him. So he is just a straight up just wandering creature that will destroy you at any point. which is not bad. I think the game did need more, because like when we got the crow, it didn't really do anything with you. It just sort of dropped feathers, and you can kind of do anything to it. He is at least more tactile and like present in the world, which is neat.
Is the scale really like cool? Like do you
feel
he's
like huge. Like he's gigantic. Like it's like I would say it's probably like 6 to 7 times your size. Like he's pretty massive. I might be able to, while we're talking, I took a screenshot of him. I could probably send it over and you could pull it up, I guess.
Yeah, so the scale of the koi fish, this is a picture screenshot that you took?
Yeah. Well, I was playing the other night.
Yeah, pretty big. Looks pretty massive.
And that's me like a good, like at a safe distance, like pretty far out. Yeah, so he's gigantic and it's super cool. His like pathing is a little weird. And actually, now that I'm looking at the game, there's an actual patch update now, it looks like. Which is good, because I've had some weird performance issues too since it hit. I think something to do with like the water bubbles or some other stuff there. The feeling of being underwater is really cool though. Like the lighting and stuff is super nice. The actual like, yeah, there you go. He's fucking huge. Like he's a big fish. Like it's not like you stand no chance. And you can't you can't kill it anyway. It just comes for you. But there is a good like set of avenues and stuff in places you can hide and kind of get away from them. My biggest downside still is like the inventory system is like, so the koi armor that they added doesn't really make any sense, because it's like you don't swim faster with it. And it has like a perfect block buff that I would say this game, if anything, needs a better, like they do that thing where all the descriptions of items and stuff is like in universe, so it's not like clear exactly what things are doing. So you don't really know what the benefit or buff is. But the koi armor doesn't make you swim any faster, as far as I can tell. But you can make flippers and like a breathing apparatus, but that will take the spot of the helmet and the feet. So then you're just using a chest piece. But the ladybug chest piece, as far as like defense and actual armor, is still way better. So it seems like really unnecessary. Like it doesn't give you underwater breathing or any of that stuff. So the koi armor is just like seems purely aesthetic. And especially if you've been playing, well, actually, especially because like the ladybug armor is still way easier to get than this is, because you have to craft like the first breathing apparatus that you're able to actually craft to get to the parts that you need to do the better one is like, you basically, by the time you get there, you have like 10 to 15% air left, maybe. So once you make it there, you don't have enough air to get back out, unless you find like there's not like any real air bubbles or anything in that area either. So it took a while to even get to the thing to open the hatch for the underwater base. But the underwater base thing is super cool. Like it's one of the coolest like areas in a game I've seen in a while. And there's a lot of small details of like, there's like a wedding ring under in the pond that has like initials carved in it, but you don't know who that is. So there's a lot of that still story world building stuff without the actual story there, which is pretty, like this game again does super well. And I've said that since I started playing it, but they still have a lot of these like very piecemeal mysteries of like, what is this? Who is this belong to? What is, all that stuff.
Well, I think that comes with like the territory of it being an Obsidian game. Cause like, When they announced this, it's like the initial thought I had was like, oh, they're doing some like kind of Rust survival thing. Okay, whatever. But then you think about like the legacy of Obsidian, and I don't think that they could make a game without having like pretty decent characterization and world building and like a good story. Yeah. And from what I've played of the game, like I played up until the point where you get to the base under the tree, and like you get there and it's like, oh shit, like what's all this shit going on? Like I thought we just.
Oh, and that's, you barely even scratched. I mean, that's like, that's the end of basically the tutorial, and then you have the rest of the world. And there's the hedge bush lab, and then there's, there's a lot of stuff I could show you that I don't want to tell you about because it's really rad to see it for the first time. Mm-hmm. But yeah, there's tons of that stuff all over the place, and with one update, we got like footprints in the yard, which was another thing. Like where the fuck did these come from? Are they technically have always been there? Or did it come with this? Whatever. Like, there's it still stands to be one of my favorite games, and I'm super glad to see them continually. Well, I'm not to say they don't have a choice, but they kind of don't have a choice. Like it is early access, and they're a big studio, so I don't think they want it to fail, and they've been doing right by it for the most part. So, yeah, every update. I guess what I mean is like every major update or addition they've added to the game, and again, it's really only been out like 3 months. That's the other thing people forget. It's only been like 2 or 3 months because the community's been like, "Where's the fucking content? Where's all this?" And you're like, guys, I think either you really still don't understand early access, or it's just like that's still pretty fast. Like it's been like a monthly pretty decent content drop every time, even if it's not like some guy was like it was only 4 hours of content. I was like, it's 4 hours of content. Like, I mean, for a game that, I mean, I've already put, not 90 hours into it, and it's like obviously I'm a somewhat unique case there, but like it's still the thing of like, I don't know, I've played plenty of games that were like $20 to $30, and 4 hours was the game. Like it's not like it was, so it's like, come on, it's 4 more hours of a game you already like. So just fucking whatever, man. But you can't please gamers. That's the important takeaway from the world is you can't.
That's like illegal. Like it almost feels like an impossible fool's errand to make anybody.
It's a bad idea.
Yeah.
And the other thing too with all this content stuff is people have had issues with their saves, disappearing and coming back and all that stuff. But all the content hasn't. I'm still using the save that I started with the day I bought the game. So even with all this additional stuff, there hasn't been save wipes. There haven't been all this stuff. Like they've been still trying to implement everything into this working ecosystem they already have, which I also think is like really nice. Like eventually there may be a wipe, but it seems very much like they're aware of like the amount of time people put into these bases and all this other stuff, and they're trying their best to make it to where it is. This adventure is like, again, it's one where I feel like I could talk about this game forever, but it is one of those things where I feel like out of a lot of early access games, this is one where I felt like it almost narratively makes sense. And I think I've said this before, but it almost narratively makes sense to be in early access with you experiencing all the updates to the yard and stuff, because it almost feels exactly like the landscape is being shaped as it would if it was someone's actual yard. Like as the updates are coming through or whatever, everything is sort of shaping its way out in a natural way that feels really unique to this game itself and for a game in early access, because it's not like, I guess by virtue of it's like there's not stages and other shit to the game, and because it's like the map itself is pretty much been there the whole time, they've just tweaked it. It also feels like you could go see any of this stuff at any point, but eventually, someone will do some yard work and it'll change or whatever, because I think the gassy area, which I'm really excited to see what they do with that, because that's like probably one of the most unique areas, because it is like this fungal, weird, diseased area by virtue of pesticides they're spraying in the yard, and probably the most terrifying part of the yard, which the game has a really good atmosphere already. So that one's like, I think, one of the next ones. And then they have a giant, like, literal sandbox that they haven't touched yet, and that's another one that's like on the road after that, which I'm super interested to see what they do with that. Because if they could put like some kind of sandworm, like centipede critter or some shit in there that just lurks around the sand pit, fucking cool. Bring it. Like, it just, I don't know. The potential for the game is so big, and I'm just excited to be on the ride with them. But
what if they did what if they put them in like a amusement park? Like, what if you were in like an amusement park, or what if you
what if you went to like a carnival? What if you guys went to a whole haunted house? What if you guys
what if y'all were on the
dude? Oh, dude, bro, dude, what if you did Grounded, but it was the White House, dude? What if you did Grounded, dude? What if you did Grounded, but it was in the fucking spaceship, dude? And like, fucking reel it in. God damn. Be happy, dogs.
Be happy
for once.
And understand scale.
Yeah, scale for one. That would be the first thing I would understand. Is look at your environment around you and just take it in for a second, and then realize how fucking small a blade of grass is already to you and how big it is in the goddamn game. You can literally fit in a soda can and make a house in it. Like, just pay attention. But that was another thing is, like, there's, like, I'm just saying. But yeah, I'll bring that up too, because I've been getting into a little bit of a debate, because it's been a continual thing since the game came out. Is like one comparing it to Ark, and then one comparing it to this game Small Land, which is like a not even an early access game that has been in development for like probably about the same time, or like a little bit longer, a little less. I don't quite know about that point, but it's still like in early access. But it's one of those games that when you watch the trailer for it. Actually, pull that up real quick if you want. Yeah. I'm sure there's one for that. It's called Small Lands. You probably won't find that. Let me see if there's like a trailer. Just a trailer is fine. Yeah, there you go. So yeah, this was from 2017. So maybe like a little bit, but they compare it a lot to this game, and then also Ark, which Ark. Honestly, if I was comparing either to one or the other, I would compare Ark to this game more than anything else. Like, just by the virtue of the way the game is set up. And then there's also, like, factions in this game or whatever. And then you can, like, if you work with certain bugs, they start to become more invested in you or whatever. And you can ride them or something like that. Like, I definitely see the aesthetic similarities between the two games. But they're, like... They don't look or feel like the same game or the scope of them. But to me, this to me looks like one of those Kickstarter projects where it's like, oh yeah, there's different factions all over the world. Oh yeah, and you can take a train and build it across the whole environment. Oh yeah, right. And then there's air balloons. We've got planes, and then and you can make a guild, and you know, like one of those things where it's just like
high hopes.
Fucking reel it in. You're two dudes. Like, I'm not saying you can't accomplish that. But, like, let's slow it down. And then there's like, threads that come up all the time. For whatever reason, I decided to participate in this one. Because the guy was just, like, so blatantly, like, oh, this game looks fun. It's a fucking ripoff of this game. And I was like, dude, we wouldn't have, like, Call of Duty if we didn't have Doom. Or Counter-Strike. Or it's like, I was like, couldn't you say that Small Lands is a ripoff of Ark, but couldn't you say Ark is a ripoff of Raft? Or
I could say that Small Lands is a ripoff of Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Yeah, and I was like, isn't Small Lands a ripoff of Honey, I Shrunk the Kids? Isn't the sun, or isn't a flashlight a ripoff of the sun? Isn't a car a ripoff of a horse? Like, it's just, you can go as deep as you want, as far back as you want. And I was like, dude, just either play this game or don't play this game. Like, that's all that you need to do. Yeah. Like, as far as games go at this point, like, it's very fair, I think, to say, like, unless somebody is straight up stealing your assets, and you can tell, like that game World Box that has been in development forever, and some company just straight up, like, went under and copyright the name and then put, like, a very similar one-to-one game on the iTunes store. Like, unless you're doing that shit, it's just influence. And especially, it's like, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids has been out for fucking so long. Even the actor in it doesn't act anymore. Like, he's retired. Like, it's been out for so long, and so many people have seen it. Like, if you've seen Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, A Bug's Life, or Ants, or any of the things in that similar wheelhouse, which you could say are all similar ripoffs of each other in some fashion, it's like I think even when you're a kid, you saw that, and you're like, man, that'd be a fun game. Like, and it's, there's no way if you grew up in the 90s, you didn't see Honey, I Shrunk the Kids and have at least some cognitive thought of an idea of what you could do with that concept. Like, it's just, it's ridiculous. And it's like, oh, and this big company comes in and takes it, and it's like, it's fucking 15 people at a giant company. It's not the company. Like, it's like a small dev team got granted permission to do a passion project because the company was cool enough to let them do it. So it's like, it just drives me fucking nuts, the limited understanding. And if you think about it too, like, what game developer have you talked to or listened to ever that's been like, oh, all I do is play video games? It's like, you don't get to see you get to play fucking nothing because you're getting your ass crunched at all hours of the day for years straight. Like, you're not playing everything or even getting to see anything that's happening around you. It's like, the weirdest juxtaposition of an industry where it's like you're fully invested in the industry while having no idea what's happening in it. It's like, it's just, it's just so fucking annoying. Like, again, I'm a bit biased because I really like this game, and I would play that one. Like, you know, the concept is there for sure. And then I brought up too, it's like, yeah, but look at Fortnite. It's like they started as a really good game already, but then it wasn't taking off. Then they saw what PUBG did, and then they did that, and then they made the arguably the better game. Like, at the end of the day,
you look at Fortnite and like it's doing some wacky shit. Maybe Fortnite eventually does like a tiny world thing where it's like, oh, you're in a tiny battle royale.
They can't rip off Small Lands.
Those two guys,
those two dudes, and like I fully support the two guys making the thing. It looks interesting. I have nothing against them. It's whoever their community is are fucking annoying. Like, it's like, and the other thing too is like, who's to say that game's gonna come out and be awesome? Like, it's like it could come out and be fucking shit, and you've already got a better one here, or at least one. Like, it's I feel like it's unjustified to say that either team is not passionate about the thing they're doing, because both, I feel like, definitely are. But it's like, again, you're comparing it to a game that does not even exist yet. And like, somebody brought up the point too of like, it's like, I think the same guy was like, oh, well, it seems like they put it in early access to get out ahead of that game. And it's like, if what they just showed you in that trailer, even, 20% of that was actually a playable game, why didn't they put it in early access? Like, I'm not saying that they have the resources or the ability or whatever. I obviously don't know the inner workings of it, but but that's the thing is, like, they have the same fucking option. They can make an early access game if they want to, if the idea is to get it out in front of people.
Yeah. Early access game, planned release, coming soon. Yeah, and like, it's weird that the screenshots they show are just snippets of that video. Like, you can make a pretty video. You can make a pretty in-engine video.
Well, and that's why I made the comparison to like a Kickstarter, is because like, you can make a really nice fucking looking Kickstarter video and say all the shit you want about it. It doesn't mean anything's gonna happen.
And then you get Mighty Number 9 and a billion other examples.
Yeah, of just a game that just isn't there, and that's the two. It goes double, I think, when they start getting as ambitious as they want to get. When it's like, I think when you start implementing factions into a game, that's when I start to bail out a bit, because that's when it really feels like, yeah, I don't think you can do this. Like, not that they can't, but it's like, I can't think of a small team that's done a game with like factions that has been like successful. It always seems like the pipe dream.
I'll give you RimWorld.
Sure. Okay. Yeah.
But RimWorld is like primitive. Like, the thing about RimWorld is that like, the time wasn't spent on the art. It was spent on like all the algorithms and all the math behind everything. All the like systems. That's where RimWorld's time was spent. Like, the game looks like Play-Doh, but like, that's
the other thing too, is like, yeah, I mean, if this is an Unreal Engine or even Unity game, it's going to look pretty good anyway. It doesn't mean it's going to be good. Like, I mean, obviously even Grounded struggles from a seasoned team or group of individuals, struggles with like, the pathing, the AI of the creatures, all this other stuff. And then when you implement all these other systems that you're discussing, it's like, again, not to say you can't do it. Obviously, like, without somebody being super ambitious, you wouldn't have Stardew Valley, you wouldn't have Spelunky, you wouldn't have all these other games. So I'm in full support of them trying to do it. It's just, again, it's really the community. They just need to fucking chill out.
Keep your fans out of the subreddit.
Yeah.
Keep them from being shitty, dude.
Keep your sticks out of hockey. Play with your hands if you really care. I don't know,
dude.
But yeah, it's just slightly frustrating.
Yeah. So there's one other game before we get to the big one that is on your list.
I'll quickly talk about it. It's alright. Like, it's I feel like it's pretty early on in its game. It kind of boils down to sort of just, which I have the review filmed. I just haven't put it up yet, but it's
this is called Dismantled, by the way, or Dismantle.
Yeah, Dismantle. Yeah, it's like it's a top-down survival zombie game, but you don't have like the normal survival mechanics. Like you don't have food or water. This is, I think, what the weirdest thing about it is like you don't have food or water. There is an overall story that you're trying to progress through, but it is, as far as I can tell, open-ended. And the only thing, like, you're not finding weapons in the world and you're not finding equipment in there. You're only dismantling stuff for resources, but there is also no base building of any kind. So it's like all you're really doing is breaking stuff down to then make upgrades to the stuff that you have on you. But again, all you're doing is breaking stuff down and then the occasional fight. And there, like I said, there is some narrative stuff. There's also a supernatural element to the game that I haven't quite uncovered yet. Or may not be there yet either. I don't know, because it is early access as well. I know they had some like tombs and stuff I found that were like halfway there, but when you enter them, it's like, hey, it's not finished, you know, kind of deal or whatever, which is totally fine. But yeah, it's like this would be a game where like I really want to build out my own house and do some shit in there and make, you know, my claim on the world or whatever. Mm-hmm. Because the map itself is fucking huge. Like it is. I think at some point in here I'll zoom out and show it, but yeah, it's like I spent a good like 6 hours or so in this game, and I uncovered like 2 or 3 full nodes out of the like 35 that are on this map. It's like gigantic. But you may be able to, I don't know. I know at some point I brought it up. It may be a little bit later in here.
This isn't your video. This is somebody else's.
Oh, right. Because I didn't upload it yet. That makes sense. I'm fucking dumb. There you go.
Here we go.
I don't know if he's going to zoom out on this at all. But yeah. Well, there you go. So never mind.
Oh, I'm getting a little, I was just making sure I get all of it. There we go.
Yeah. But that, like, yeah, okay, so that one section, I've uncovered like 3 more of those style ones, and like I said, there's like another like 30 or so in total. And as far as I can tell, they're there because the map, the quest I have has me to go to all 4 corners of it to get something. So the map is pretty gigantic. Again, though, you can cook stuff, but it only gives you a buff, I think, until you die. And then whenever you rest at a campfire, it's like Dark Souls and all the enemies come back as well. The combat's like a little weak too, because it's just like you have a heavy attack that you can charge up, or you can just do like a 3 swing. There's a dodge roll, and then the only ranged weapon I found is like a throwing knife. But it also, that's another thing, is like you're not crafting more ammo or anything out in the world either. All of your resources, like throwing knives or whatever, replenish when you get to the campfire. So it's not like, it's weird to be collecting so much shit to not really be using it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just, it's a little weird. Like, it's a little disjointed. I think like the foundation is for sure there for something cool. But it's just not, I don't know exactly what the real game meat is yet, if it is there at all. So yeah, I'll check back in with it later for sure. Probably when they do like a big update or something.
That actually reminds me of this game. I was talking to you guys in Discord about maybe playing this at some point.
Right.
This is actually a really fun game. I just haven't had
the big time. Burn on Dismantle, dog.
No. That's not what I mean. That's not what I mean. Just the idea.
This is actually a good game that I have that if you want to play instead.
No, like
sorry.
Not what I meant. No, I know. Not a slide against that. It just reminded me of this. It's like an isometric like zombie game that has like base building. This one,
Paperboy.
This survival.
Habbo Hotel. Sorry.
Yeah, Habbo Hotel. That's right. You just socialize and you do emotes and do a bunch of racist things. So. This is like it's a zombie survival game. It's called Project Zomboid. It's been in early access forever. But like it's the survival elements like turned up to 11. Scavenging, crafting, dismantling things, all that stuff. But you also do have like a pretty impressive like base building system. If you see like all the shadow like area on the outside, like it actually has like field of vision and stuff for zombies and like you, so you can't like openly see everything. This game is like crushingly punishing, but I think like with a good group of people, it could be pretty fun. That game just reminded me of this.
Yeah, no, I get you.
Yeah,
I definitely like the look of the other one, but I see what you're talking about here. Yeah, it definitely seems like way more robust as far as the systems and stuff go.
Yeah, you have to like close doors behind you. You have to board them up. Yeah, it seems cool. You have to
read Angular USA magazine.
This one's been you do actually read to get skills and stuff. So
sure.
Not unlike like The Sims or something like that, but yeah,
I think you do that actually in because these both remind me of State of Decay, which I really do like. But I wish that game had more of a fleshed out like base system too, because you're like trying to provide for your group, but you can only build in like specific areas, and it's kind of whatever.
Yeah, so maybe we try that. Is that other game multiplayer, or is it just a single player thing for now?
No, as far as I can tell, it's single player, because there's not a character creator either. You just start with that guy, which makes me think that the story is more emphasized than it maybe seems like it is from the get-go. I don't know. Like I said, it's really hard for me to tell what exactly that game is going to be or what it is or is trying to be. It's a strange one.
Yeah. Well, I guess before we touch on Assassin's Creed, I do want to show you guys Surviving the Aftermath. Yeah. We talked about this last week or the week before. I don't quite remember.
I think it was last week, yeah.
Because this was in the Switch presentation, and we were like, who in the hell wants to play a base building game on the Switch?
Turns out you do?
Turns out I do. I didn't actually play it. That comes out later on Switch, but this game...
Oh, okay.
is actually very, very good. Very surprised with it. So I'm a big fan of like your Rim Worlds, your City Skylines, Banished. What's the other big one? Frostpunk. I'm a huge fan of these types of like civilization choices, resource management, defense, that kind of stuff. I haven't gotten way too far into this game, and I'm like playing on the easiest setting right now just to kind of learn the mechanics and like learn what everything does. But apparently this is from the people who made Surviving Mars, and I played a little bit of that, but it wasn't quite there for me, like the little bit I played of Surviving Mars. But
sure, yeah.
This game has like a almost Wastelanders like vibe to it, because you have like I don't know, you can see like the sheriff badges for like the important VIP characters, and like these characters have like perks, and like you'll have your scientists who are better at, like give you more research ability, and you have your scavengers who on the world map can find resources more effectively.
And you're dealing with radiation and stuff like that too, and like the general apocalypse of mutated creatures and that kind of business.
Yeah, exactly. And that's one part that I haven't really gotten to, is like how you deal with pollution, because it seems like it's a major mechanic. Because you build outhouses, and eventually, like, I think you can like rank up into like better technologies and like get housing and get out of like doing tents and stuff eventually.
Yeah, you do. So eventually there's like you'll get like a sort of like a med tent kind of deal that can deal with some of that stuff, but there's also like some kind of quarantining area you'll have to make as well, if I remember right, to keep them away from everyone else, because they'll get them sick as well. So there's that aspect too that some other of these games will pull. If I remember, it's been a while since I played this game though. It's been a good 5 or 6 months.
And like I said, I scratched the surface of this. I can't wait to dive into it a little more. Pretty much where I've gotten to is I've gotten my like 5th VIP. The world map stuff is pretty interesting. So it like plays out in days and turns almost. So let me see if this person eventually gets to the world map, so I can kind of show you what that looks like. And like the settings in this game, like as far as difficulty and stuff goes, it's like, how many resources do you start with? Like essentially in like the frequency, like do you want to focus on base building? Do you want to focus on like on research? Do you like what kind of colony do you want to make? Does this guy ever get to the world map? Jesus.
Maybe not. It's okay.
Oh no, here he is. Here he is. Yeah, here he is. So the world map's cool because like you have your scavengers or like your scouts, and you can like send them to different places on the map, and you can see like I think scouts can move further and they take less time to like discover a new area. But like on the map, there's like a number, so that tells you how many days it's going to take them to get to that point of the map. And
yeah, there's the medical. That's the tent thing there. Yeah.
Okay, I got you.
Because then there's like a pollution level as well that has some tie into it. Because it's I think there's something. I could be totally wrong, but if I remember right, it's something to the effect of like if you're curing people, that will start to like pollute your tent because of what you're doing in it. So you have to then do some other thing to mitigate it or something like that. I can't totally remember. It's like I said, but
yeah.
I need to pick it back up again. It was cool. I remember liking the bit I played of it.
So I haven't gotten to like I think there's some defense in the game. Like there's some kind of like not necessarily combat per se, but maybe there's like scenarios where violence occurs. It reminds me of
it's sort of similar to like Northrend, I think was the game. If I remember, the combat's kind of similar to that one where you sort of have like a hunting party kind of deal that goes out. Because I think your base can be raided as well. Like there's raider groups and shit that come by.
And you're right, because
I think maybe
the skulls on the map, you can raid those spots and like a boss will come out and you just basically do combat with them on the bottom. But it's like just by turn and it's like kind of a roll of the dice. Like, are you going to kill this guy or not? I like it. It's cool. It's a decent little game.
I cannot imagine playing this on the Switch though.
No,
like, I can't. I really am trying so hard to consider what that would be like, and I really just can't think of it. Especially trying to build those tiny ass roads on that thing. I'm good.
By the way, I think the Epic exclusivity is up. I bought it on Epic because when we were talking about it, you said it was like Epic exclusive, but it totally is on Steam now.
Yeah, it might have been that year. It might have just came up because I got it a while back, but it was there for a bit.
Yeah, I
actually do own Surviving Mars on Steam, though. I didn't realize I owned that game.
I saved a little bit of money on it because I have Surviving Mars from like a free claim, so I got like 10% off of that, and then I also had a little bit more of that credit from. I only used like $5 to purchase another game. So I walked away for like $15 or something like that. But yeah, not a bad game.
10% off saving Aftermath when you own Surviving Mars is what it says on there. I mean that seems fun.
I'll keep playing that. Report back on that. They just apparently added like quests, so that's one thing it reminded me of Frostpunk is that like things will pop up and be like, hey, this person's like trying to raid the food. Like, what do you do to them? And like, depending on how you respond, you get like different negative effects or like a bonus or, stuff like that. So, yeah, cool game. I quite like it. So, do you want to get into the big one this week?
I mean, it is our last boy for the week. So, yeah, we might as well discuss Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
I'm going to play some of ACG's review in the background just because starting at one point in the video may be a little weird for just starting with a part one because there's a lot to this game. But
how much have you played of it, I guess, is my first question.
So I've played up until England, where you...
So you've left Norway.
I left Norway. I started building the settlement up there, kind of got entangled with some of the Saxons. I'm probably like an hour into the England area. I want to know, like, high level, what do you think about the game?
So I'm like 12 hours into it, I think. Look, okay, I'll say that it's such a mixed bag. I just think the game is boring. Like, I think everything's really slow to go to. Like, the world is gorgeous, but is it gorgeous enough to keep going through it to see the set pieces? Like, it's like the same issue sort of with Odyssey, just to a lesser extent, because Odyssey was like, there's so much shit to see in that game that it's like too overwhelming. This one is like I like some of the story beats I like, but the main characters or like the main mission structure I think has been pretty good. The side quest is like kind of whatever. It's been a little dull, but most of it equates to the same kind of thing of like, hey, go here, raid this, come back. Go here, raid this, come back. Go raid this, come back. Talk to so-and-so, find out what they're doing, see if they like to raid, go with them and raid that and come back. And it's like, that's fine. I also don't, I think the skill tree progression thing is gigantic. It seems like, but I don't really know in that instance why the whole thing is hidden.
Yeah.
Like, I wish there was a better idea of what you're eventually going towards. Like, maybe the idea is that at some point you'll get everything, because it seems like you level up relatively quickly. Overall, anyway, I guess. But you can't really tell, like, when you're going to go for a new move or whatever. And then by virtue, if you don't, like, run across or, like, actively seek out the skill books, the combat will then effectively be the fucking same the whole time. And, like, I found, like, I think 4 skill books, but one was a duplicate, so it gave me, like, another thing. And I'm not sure if those are, like, area specific or just, like, progression specific. Like, if you've unlocked X ability already, then here comes X book after that. Or if it's like, no, if you want this ability, it's only in this specific tomb or whatever.
I think it's that. I think it's the second one. I think you discover each ability in those tombs alone. Like, I don't know if you, like, progress toward those.
Well, what I mean is, like, if it's, like, by virtue of where you are in the skills you've already found, if, like, the next... Like, if the progression for that is based on the ones you've found, like, if it's, like, oh, he's already got the axe throw one, the next one progressively is the 3 arrow thing.
I see what
it's just like, no matter which tomb you go to, you get the next skill book in order. Not, I don't know. I think it seems like it is tied to, like, it's a specific book at a specific tomb, is what it feels like, but I don't quite know that. But to that end, so far I've done I've skilled out completely almost in like a little bit of melee, or mostly melee, and, like, stealth up to the point where I can see enemies through walls, you know, like every good assassin can do, see through walls. And I only have one melee power, like, attack. So, like, I can throw axes at a thing whenever my bar fills up or whatever.
Yeah.
But again, it's like...
Oh, sorry. I was just going to say, like, if that's the only ability you have... The one I found was in Norway behind a waterfall, and it was a, like, run and tackle and then pummel ability.
See, mine was locked. I went up to that one, and I couldn't get behind the waterfall. The door was shut, and it was, like, barred from another location or something.
Yeah, that's...
No. I remember now. It said very specifically, this area is not available yet. And I did it, like, right before I left.
Yeah, if you just keep walking, you can open that chest. Even though it says that, you can just keep walking and open it.
Okay.
It's really weird.
I guess I'll have to go back, I guess. Yeah, that was really strange.
Yeah, that part felt a little weird. But yeah, keep going about, like, where you're at and everything, because I'm curious. Because you're further in it than I am.
Yeah, it's like... the other thing, too, is, like... And it's the same issue I had with Legion. And by virtue of having their pass, right, their game deal or whatever, they give you, like, the ultimate edition of the game. So you get, like, about as good as armor as you're going to find for quite a while right out of the gate. So there's no real need to switch any of that up, and you can just upgrade it however you feel like. And it also, again, sort of, because it's armor of the bear, I think there's, like, 3 types tied to, like, the skill tree or whatever. So if you're going, it also incentivizes you because your gear is that way to go down the melee route anyway. So then by virtue of that, you're now not finding melee books. I found like 5 ranged ones. I found one, like I said, 1 melee attack when primarily all I've done is like melee. I've had no, and again, I've even spec'd that way or whatever. And I have gotten like a combat ability to do like a stomp damage thing. And I think I went into the stealth tree or whatever to do like a backstab deal that does extra damage, or not a backstab, but like if you hit them from behind, it does extra damage or whatever. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's like, I also suggest turning off the execution animations. It makes the combat a little bit better because it's just there's one happening like every other guy, and it just really slows down like this raid dynamic for seeing the same, animations over and over again or whatever. But yeah, I don't know. I just find it really dull. And like kind of contrived in a lot of ways. Like I think that as Ubisoft's games go, like their worlds are really gorgeous. It's just I have hard time finding or justifying why I'm in it. Because again, like I think the base idea of like building out your camp, I think that's cool. But again, it's really limited, and it's just you're upgrading a certain building, and you can kind of, add like. You can change the design of the tree here, or like by the docks, there's 2 things you can put up or whatever. And obviously I don't expect it to be like a base building game or whatever, because those are just inherently different. But with the amount of resources you're gathering, you might as well, because that seems to be like the sort of deal is like get all this wood, get all this thing, upgrade all your gear, do all that. And yeah, the combat also just feels like it has that same Assassin's World jank that the last 3 have had, where it's like they've sort of, I guess, semi-slowed the combat down and sort of made it more, like a little bit more stamina-based than the other ones, or especially Odyssey, because Odyssey eventually just became just shoot off superpowers as often as you feel like, because I think in that game, I had like an ability where I could backstab, like I could teleport and backstab like 6 dudes in a chain, and then, jump from whatever height and not take fall damage, which I also know this game has at some point. I've seen someone grab it. Yeah, but like the parry system is like hit or miss, and there's also like a really large window for it sometimes, but not at other times. And then you're also surrounded by enemies fairly often because of this raid thing, but you're not always like attacking the guy. You're definitely directing. What?
This real quick in the video. This shit I have seen so many times.
Of like them just like weird, spinning in circles with each other?
Just weird AI pathing. I've had like really weird bugs in like the cutscenes. There was one part in particular, so when you go...
The cutscenes for some reason ramp the fucking usage of CPU and GPU like crazy. I don't know what it is, and maybe it could be patched out or something, but it like fucking starts toasting this thing.
Yeah.
And I mean, it runs fine. I've had some like weird graphical stutters and some other weird shit. And performance across the board has been like pretty decent as far as like the actual game itself, gameplay wise or whatever, has been fine.
Yeah. I'll say that like what I'm getting to is that like the biggest weird bug I had is that, so this isn't really spoilers, but at the very beginning there's some shit that goes down, and then there's a guy that you go fight one-on-one, right? They do the thing in that I love when it happens in games where they want you to get hit and they want you to like take the damage so like a cutscene can play. But like I was very low health when I entered that fight, and he did this charge at me and it like killed me, but like both of like the cutscene that plays when he kills you and like his dialogue were happening at the same time. And so whenever I got back into the game, he was like almost like stuttering, like doing this with his head over and over again, like talking. And then like it was very odd, like really weird animation really bugs and stuff that I've seen in this game.
I mean, I guess I'll say too though, but I mean, hey, that's Assassin's Creed. Like that's their open world games are just that. Like I mean, that's a really strange one. Don't get me wrong, that one's super weird. But yeah, I mean, it's like
I should have prefaced this whole discussion by saying the only time I played Odyssey was when I was beta testing Stadia. That was the game they gave you. I tried to I downloaded it, played like maybe the first couple hours, whatever. I've never played another Assassin's Creed game. So take that for what you want.
You haven't played any of them?
No. It's just never been appealing to me. The thing about this game is that the world was appealing, the look of the game was appealing, like the stuff they were showing about the raids and the combat and stuff was appealing. So I'm almost going into this with no frame of reference.
Then this is probably fine for you. Really. I would say you're probably going to have a fine time with it. It's that diminishing return of like when Origin came out, they changed like the combat, right? Mm-hmm. And then that was like kind of its first iterance of that style combat in these games. And with the like loot stuff too, that was like the first iteration of that. The second one became Odyssey rather, became basically fucking Diablo with superpowers, but you're just like a dude or whatever. And assassins just happen to exist. Mm-hmm. And then this one sort of meets in the middle of both of those games where it's like a little bit more refined on the combat, but like a definite step back in the way that you progress the combat, and then like took all the loot stuff out more or less. So like now the loot actually kind of means something when you get it, but then you're sort of filling the world with a lot of stuff that's like unnecessary now, because now you're like exploring only to get these skills because they took most of the like just general like, hey, explore for the fun of it. Now it's like, no, you have to do it to find this thing. Whereas before it's like, ooh, maybe I'll get an item here. And now it's like, no, it's a book inside this thing. That's what you're getting. So it's like the mystery is sort of gone in a weird way because they've sort of changed all the way that stuff is piecemeal to you from how it was before. So that's a bit off. But yeah, again, like if it's definitely like your first Assassin's Creed game, I would say at some point you should play Black Flag, because that is sort of like the peak of the original style Assassin's Creed games with like a hint of what's going on here, because that's like when the boat stuff really came in and all that. Maybe even Revelations was another really good one that's more similar to how they originally were, because they were always like open world games, but it was definitely more like blend into a crowd, stealth stuff, all this. And that's sort of the other thing too here is like, to me, it's just super slow, because it's like when you're in the boat even, it's like you have to go down this river, which is kind of slow because you're rowing. I get it. It is like narratively and period appropriate for that. But it's like you go to a bridge that's there, and so then it's like, all right, we got to take the sail down, then lower the sail, then go under the bridge, then raise the mast back up, then put the sail back up, and then go forward again. And then like the climbing is still like a little clunky and all that. Like it's that same issue with every Ubisoft game, right? Is like every iteration, it's just they change the world, but they don't really change the game. And it's the same thing here. Like again, not to discourage you from playing it. Like if you're enjoying it, I think you should see it through, because there is a lot to like in these games. Yeah. It's just it still suffers from just the diminishing turns of like, we've had now, I think probably by our count, the last two Assassin's Creed games have made up probably the total hour count from all the other games, with the exception of maybe Black Flag. Just maybe not exactly, but it's closing in on it. So there's just that thing of like, I don't know, it just needs something. I couldn't tell you what exactly it needs.
Yeah. I mean, I'm enjoying it for the most part. Like,
yeah, I think if you're liking it, stick with it. I would say like if you feel at any point like you're getting a little bored, or there's like or some parts, like if you start to find some certain frustrations with the game, that's probably when I would quit, because they're probably not going to go away. Like the game is going to be pretty much that for 60 plus hours or whatever it is going to be to finish it. Mm-hmm. I don't know the length of this one, but if I also think they said, I think if I looked at the map right, there's like 11 areas, I think, for zones or some shit, or places.
Well, so I should also say,
I don't know.
I probably would have never played the game had I not gotten it for free.
Right, absolutely.
To be honest. So,
well, now they're giving out Far Cry 6, which I feel like would have been the better one.
Well, are you talking about like when you get like PC hardware? Because that's how I got mine. Yeah, because
my friend I was telling you that got the 5950 or whatever the fucking AMD chip is. That's the one he got. His was Far Cry 6 or whatever.
Yeah, I mean,
maybe not though. I don't know. Ubisoft has been kind of a letdown right after all of these. Like Legion's pretty dull. Valhalla again has been pretty dull.
Well, I mean, also like Phoenix Rising seemed like a decent demo, but also I hated the tone of that thing. I hated it. Like,
yeah, sure, yeah, because it's got the two that their non-serious games all require for whatever reason.
Yeah,
and honestly, game-wise, that one seems the most interesting, but it still seems like the last Assassin's Creed with somebody got crayons instead of colored pencils to make the world or whatever.
I mean, I'm enjoying the story of this one is actually pretty cool. I have no idea what's happening with the Animus shit, and also if like you go back.
I don't either. I have no idea.
If you watch the footage all I know is we were just playing, he never showed any of that Animus shit.
They've lessened that quite a bit. Like, I think Black Flag had the most interesting one because you worked at Abstergo, so you were actually in the office building that is who created the Animus, but the company that's also trying to take over whatever they're doing. I don't really remember because it's been a long time, but that stuff's like almost pretty antiquated at this point. I think if you're a diehard Assassin's Creed fan, there is like merit to all that stuff. I don't personally know what it is, but I did like that when you go to the Animus, it's like, I was like, oh, you guys watched Stranger Things, didn't you? Because it was like, we're in this cabin and this weird synth music comes up, and I was like, what the fuck is that? Like, maybe it's just a nod to that, but it did feel very much like, oh yeah, you guys liked Stranger Things, I guess. Like, I immediately got that vibe from it. It was really strange.
Mm-hmm. It just doesn't seem like the focus anymore. But yeah, I'll keep playing it.
No,
I'll report back.
It hasn't been for like the last 3. Like, it's definitely like it's telling a different. It's I think as far as I haven't finished any of them because again, Odyssey, like I think Origins was like 90 hours. I think Odyssey was like a 200-hour game if you want it to be, and then this one I couldn't tell you the length, but that's like. It's a lot of the same shit, so it's like kind of hard to get through, in my opinion. Like maybe if you just beeline the story. Actually, though, that was the thing with Odyssey. You couldn't beeline the story because the way they had set up the like experience thing, that if you weren't doing side quests and stuff, you were gonna get roadblocked at some point, so you couldn't really do that. Mm-hmm. So I don't know, man. I'll probably play a little bit more of it. Yeah, I don't know though. I don't know. I kind of just want cyberpunk.
Yeah, dude, I'm right.
Because if I'm gonna spend my time in an open world, that's the kind of the one I want to see. So I don't know.
Just a few more weeks. Just a few more weeks. But hey, let's talk about some games that came out this day last year, and other years other than last.
Oh, Azure Dreams it has a dragon on the cover, right? Like a blue dragon, and it was like I feel like done by one of the. Honestly, you know what I really want to play is fucking Yakuza. That's what I would like to play in the meantime.
Yakuza
not
Zero?
The game I was thinking of. Yeah. No. Yakuza Like a Dragon, because that came out like 2 days ago.
Yeah. Well, dude, I always have this dumb idea that I'm going to start at the beginning of a series and like keep going, and Zero's like the prequel to them all, and then there's the Kiwami series. There's no way I'm playing all those games. There's just no way.
Well, this one, as far as I understand, is completely devoid of that story. Like, it has all the vibe and dressings of Yakuza, but it's a completely new storyline. Because the game itself is a turn-based RPG, so it's already a totally different setup. Mm-hmm. And it was heavily inspired by Dragon Quest, and the main character specifically, as far as I understand, mentions that he is a huge fan of that game. So he sees the world in this RPG turn-based style thing, which already seems like a pretty fun concept. Yeah. If I was going to pick an open world game to play out of all the ones that came out so far until then, that would be the one I would pick. Mm-hmm. I also kind of want to see Godfall because I've seen more on it and it seems all right.
But
I'm going to definitely wait for a sale on that one.
Yeah, I think I might too. I combed through this list just a little bit, and there wasn't like too much that I had was pretty fond of, or that
Skies
I really
of
remembered
Arcadia,
much about.
I never really played, but I had a friend that was like really obsessed with the GameCube one.
Yeah.
And then Monster Rancher, I played the original 2 on the PlayStation 1, where you could, I assume you could do it on all of them, but you could swap out discs to get new monsters. Like you put in like a Linkin Park CD and you get a new monster or whatever, which was kind of cool. A lot of them ended up being the same thing, but you could put DVDs and shit in there and it'd give you a different deal. The first Assassin's Creed came out in 2007. That ought to tell you something. It's been 13 years, and I think we have, let's see, 1, 2... actually, let me look at that while you're going through the list a little bit. I'm curious.
Yeah. Crysis, America's Benchmark for PCs. I actually never played Crysis. You always hear the jokes about it, but yeah, I never actually played Crysis.
It's fun enough. I mean, it's, it's okay.
Tenkaichi 3, which I actually like. I like Budokai Tenkaichi 3. It's the Dragon Ball game, fighting game.
Oh, Budokais were all right.
I remember liking those games all right. They were pretty cool.
Yeah.
Guitar Hero 3. Umbrella Chronicles.
Okay.
I didn't play it. It's like the light gun game on the Wii, I think.
All right. Are you ready for this?
Mm-hmm.
So in 13 years, right? Since the first Assassin's Creed game, we have Assassin's Creed. We have Assassin's Creed 2, Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, Assassin's Creed Revelations, Assassin's Creed 3, Assassin's Creed Black Flag. We have Rogue, Unity, Syndicate, Origins, Odyssey, Valhalla. And then you also have 3 Liberation, which was a PSP game, the Chronicles games, which were episodic, but there was a China, a Russia, and a India. Then you have Altair's Chronicles. Then you have Bloodlines, Discovery, Reamed for the iOS, Recollection, which is a board game for iOS, Pirates, Assassin's Creed Memories, Identity, Rebellion, and then there is also 2 canceled games there.
Yeah, do we count them? Do we count them? The canceled?
No. Don't count the canceled ones. I think we're already pretty stocked.
That's 24 games and spinoffs.
Yeah, in 13 years. So you see what I'm saying? I haven't played every single one of them, but I've played all the mainline ones, at least to some extent. Fucking tone it down.
Let's dial it back.
I think they even took a year off. I think because of that to do this one. I want to say they took a year off from Odyssey. So actually, in like 11 years, we've had 24 fucking straight to the vein Assassin's Creed games.
Damn.
So that's what I'm saying. I don't fault them for not knowing what to do because they've fucking been doing too much, we'll say. Yeah, bit insane.
So yeah, 13 years, and that's what we have to show for it, is all those Assassin's Creed games. That's
a
insane.
lot, man. I mean, I think they have alternating studios doing them because they have, what is that, Montreal, Annecy, Sofia, Milan, Quebec, Toronto, Gameloft, Kryptonite, Blue Byte. So they've got quite a few studios, but even still, man, it's too many games. Too many games with 2 similar formats. But there are some good ones in there, just a little bit too much. Black Ops 2 is pretty decent on here. Mario 3D Land was fantastic. Can't believe that's almost 10 years old now. That's pretty insane.
It's upsetting.
It is, yeah. That means the 3DS, I guess, also is almost 10 years old, which is pretty crazy. Or at least the first iteration of it anyway. Actually, Lego Lord of the Rings is probably the only Lord of the Rings or Lego game I haven't played. Because I don't know. I have an affinity for Lego or Lord of the Rings. And then Spyro Reignited Trilogy is fantastic. The PC version of that game is incredible. I love Spyro the Dragon, though.
Yeah, those
Big
are good
fan.
games. Good games.
Actually, somebody modded the last Monster Hunter boss to look like Spyro the Dragon because he's like a flame-breathing kind of skinny dude with like a sort of mohawk, so they made him look like that. It was pretty good. There's also a dude, I wish I could find his name because I have to give credit to him, but he's been doing cursed weapons in Monster Hunter, like images of it, and he did like Mike Wazowski as like a hammer. So it just shows Mike Wazowski and then like the parts you need out of Mike Wazowski to make it, and then an image of like the ball, and then he did a B-movie one, and then he did a Finding Nemo dual blades, which was Dora and Nemo as the weapon, and did parts with it. He did a Shrek mace, I think, also. They're pretty good though. They're really well done. He did like some really nice like actual concept art for that shit. I think I screenshot it. I can text it to you or whatever at some point. But yeah, pretty good. Not good. Related, but I'll bring up Monster Hunter any chance I get. So, and that's the only reason I want to play Godfall. Somebody was like, it's kind of like it's sort of like a loot based game, and it's also kind of similar to Monster Hunter. I was like, oh, Monster Hunter. Well, I want to see this, and then I looked at it and I was like, okay, I guess I could see.
Yeah. The combat, mostly, I assume.
Well, that's the only part of that game, as far as I understand it, is it's just hallways and arenas, and that's it. And then loot, which I'm fine with. You know, I don't necessarily hate that.
Yeah.
I wish the armor designs look rad though. There's like this one that looks like a moth that looks super sick. There's some really good design in that stuff, but I guess there's only like 13 of them or something. So you had the room, I guess, there to do that if you could focus on 13 rather than 500 different types of armor.
Yeah, so tune in like a year from now when we play Godfall.
I mean, hey, hopefully during Epic's Christmas thing they'll have a sale on it.
Yeah, we'll see.
Give it a try sooner than later, but we'll see. Should hopefully have some proper index updates here soon as it shows up this weekend. So hopefully I'll have some more actually able to be recorded in good content VR wise soon.
Yeah.
Because we've had some real fun in there, and I'm excited to have fun again. Hopefully, if this thing fits me and does everything. If not, my body is just not prepared for VR. If this doesn't work, I'm convinced I'm not there yet.
Yeah.
But we shall see. And,
I intend on playing more Assassin's Creed. I'll probably end up maybe playing a little more Bravely Default. I've been playing that.
I played the Valkyrie a little bit. That game's not great. That's an Xbox Series X launch title, but it was on Steam also. Yeah, it's pretty slow and boring for a dogfighting game. But it looks cool and you ride birds, but it's just dull. Maybe it's the first few hours and it picks up, but it doesn't feel like it does.
Yeah.
So
yeah, these days I need for the time that I have to play games, I need something to grab me pretty immediately.
That's what I'm saying. If I'm gonna sit down and spend some time, it's crazy to think of playing video games without the ability to relax. You're like, if I'm gonna do it, I gotta get some shit done in it. I know I just worked all day, but I gotta work here too if I'm gonna do it.
That's right.
It kind of sucks, but it does sort of feel that way.
Like I have friends getting back into Destiny 2, and I'm like, God, I don't know where I would find the time for any of that anymore.
I've done a very distinctive hard pass until that goes to maybe $10, but even then, I think I'm good on Destiny.
Oh, also I hit Pirate Legend in Sea of Thieves, so there's that.
What?
Yeah, thank you. I can buy more cosmetics.
That's my boy. I can get prettier when I want.
Yeah, that's the whole game. But yeah, you can find me at the Deadly Robot.
Hey, what new update? Sorry.
Oh, you're fine.
I just refreshed my FedEx thing, and it says scheduled delivery Saturday 14th by the end of the day instead of Sunday.
Oh.
Motherfucker, if I only have to wait one day, that would be fucking deal.
Dude, let's play
What's
some
an indirect
VR
signature? FedEx options and signature for someone at the delivery address for a neighbor building manager or someone at the neighboring address. Oh.
Means you're gonna have to.
Oh, I can leave a door tag authorizing the release of the package without anyone. I will be doing that. just in case. Huh. That's cool, man. I was gonna say because Chicago, Illinois is like a 2-hour flight.
Yeah, that's not much.
I don't know how they do their shipping stuff, but it's. I mean, every convention I went to, for some fucking reason, I ended up in Chicago before I went anywhere else. Even if I was going to California, it's like, well, we got to stop at Midway. I'm like, fucking why? It's the other side of where we're going.
Yeah.
Well, cool. Yeah, hopefully we'll do some VR stuff. I'm very excited to finally play Half-Life Alyx and see if that game is as cool as it seems like it is, and I have to imagine it is. Yeah. Probably pick up that, I guess, VR bundle that's on Humble right now, which is something I guess we should mention quickly. Really good VR bundle there. It's got Walking Dead, Saints and Sinners in it, which is really solid. One of the few you can call complete VR games to exist. That's definitely one of them, and a really good one. Raw Dead is pretty good from what I got to play of it originally. And then what else is on there? There was Apollo, I guess, the boxing game with Rocky, I heard is good. Don't know that I care for that, but that's in there. I've heard mixed stuff about Zero Caliber VR, but I've also heard that's pretty decent. But not as good as Pavlov, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. Don't know too much. Haven't played most of them because I don't have my headset. So
yeah.
Maybe there's no need to mention that. But yeah, hopefully Saturday. Fuck, man, that's cool.
All right. Well, thanks for listening,
right,
everybody.
Yeah, boy.